3 rounds down, only 1 to go here at the streets of Adelaide, live on NZ Sim Racing TV. It is the final round of the finals in the CareVets NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup, competing for the chance for a real-world drive in the New Zealand Toyota GR86 Racing Series for 2026. It's a massive opportunity for some of New Zealand's best sim racers that have fought their way through a whole huge rostrum of events, qualifiers, finals, semi-finals, whatever you think. It's going to come down to this here at Adelaide. An incredible circuit, incredible racing coming up for you today. Live on NZ Sim Racing TV, it is myself, Reese Gardner, with Scott Rankin alongside me. And Scotty, honestly, the racing's been fantastic at every single round so far. But, I mean, coming here to Adelaide to end off the finals and crown a champion, what a place to do it. I think we're going to be seeing some big drama with the walls this close. Yeah,
it's going to be challenging. This one... the thing about Adelaide is it's all about bravery, it's all about taking risks, and it's all about challenging the edges. And that tyre bundle we just went past has got a bad edge on it on the way out. There is the ability for a car to get kicked back across the track. I have a feeling that's going to happen at some point tonight. What about the last corner? Fast flowing entry, really slow at the apex, doubles back on itself, looking to try and get a strong entry, strong exit. Ultimately, it's probably going to be one of the best overtaking opportunities on the lap, barring the end of the back straight. So, you know, the opportunities, they come few and far in between. We saw back at Zolder how difficult it was to get through the chicanes consistently, and slow down penalties, major factor when we come to the streets of Adelaide.
Absolutely. The centre chicane at the start of the lap, you're only allowed to have half your car on the apex curb of turn 2. If you go beyond that, you get a slowdown penalty as assigned by iRacing's automated stewarding system. Well, let's check out what's going to be happening tonight. It is a 3-race format. 15 minutes of qualifying is ahead of the drivers as we're just ending off practice now. Race 1 is going to be 13 laps in length. Race 2, 16 laps with an inverted top 10 from the results of Race 1. And then Race 3 is a short, sharp blast. Only 10 laps, no pit stops required over the course of the entire day. Honestly, I think this track lends itself to that kind of really close, hard racing. So many overtaking opportunities, as you said, Scott. It's a brutal circuit, though. And honestly, the championship coming into this round is worth talking about as well. There's been quite a few protagonists over the course of this finals series. Cooper Prout is the one who is on top at the moment. Ewan Baker, 78 points back, but same amount of points back, Josh Silcock. There's a lot of potential here for a bit of a shake-up for those standings.
Yeah, and it's basically going to rely on Cooper Prout realistically having a shocker. But if you're going to have a shocker, it's going to come at a street circuit to finish things. So, you know, don't think that this one's over and done with. Cooper will be aware of that. He will be 100% coming in and aware of and switched on, knowing that his only responsibility is to stick points on the board. How about a two-way fight? Nothing separating them after the last round. Silcock ran a phenomenal Nürburgring round. Really well structured, really well put together. And again, drove smart. Fought the guys he didn't fight the guys he didn't have to, let them tie him around. What's going to happen here tonight, though? It's going to be a short run down to turn number 1. And the thing is, you don't want to be on the outside. Like I said, I don't think this championship is as easy as signed, sealed, and delivered with a 78-point margin. No. To me, there's still a lot of challenge left in this one. So it's going to take discipline. It's going to take race brain. And it's also going to take that all-important pace. I think qualifying is probably the most important of the season tonight. Do not want to be on driver's right heading to turn 1.
No, and street circuits can be a bit more difficult to make the move on. 78 points, as we said, the gap from Prout to Baker and Silcock, and it is 75 points you get for a win. And that's across all 3 races. No matter the length, you'll get that same amount of points. So keep a close eye on outside the top 3 as well. Alex Sprague and Dylan Jordan only separated by 5 points. It really gets tight in that middle phase of the top 10 with Bryce Harding and James Corbin close on points too. Davies, Dunn, and Booth at the back end of the top 10, not separated by much either. We might see some good drives from Corey Crossan. He'll be trying, along with James McIver, to recover from a couple of rounds where they've had a bit of a tough time. But aside from that, we'll have super close racing all throughout this field. Plenty of close standings. There is going to be someone to race with and someone to fight against, no matter who you are or where you are in the standings. Let's check out the track we are racing at today. Thanks to the BMW M2 safety car here on NZ Sim Racing TV. Josh Silcock setting a 1 minute 30.1 in practice around this place. You start on the start-finish straight in the middle of the Victoria Park race course in the Adelaide Parklands, and then turn 1, it's only a slight tap of the brakes, trying to carry all the speed you can through the chicane without cutting it. The curb's a little bit bigger than you think too. Round to the left-hand side of the track with a run into turn 4, and you start the staircase section of the lap. Some big bumps on the exit of that corner that you need to be careful of. There's no traction control in the fixed setup of this series provided by Hugo Allen. Round a double right-hander here. Adelaide, one of few racetracks in the world that actually has 25-meter marker boards in its braking zones up that back section. But you nail the power and come back onto the back straight here, rounding up turn 8. It's likely to be just about flat out in the Toyota 86s, maybe a slight lift. Of course, the BMW M2 safety car does struggle through that corner. It can be a bit of an understeery beast, but you brake as late as you can. Wide entry into the Duquetteville hairpin, which really narrows out on the exit, and then you go off the city streets again and back into the Victoria Park Racecourse purpose-built section. Careful of that curb on the inside at the left-hander and on the outside too. The wall will greet you, and the apex curb is very high up indeed. It'll do a number on your suspension. Blend the throttle into the braking zone for the final hairpin. Pit entry off on the right, where David Coulthard notoriously collided with the pit wall at the 95 Australian Grand Prix, and that is a lap of the current version of the Adelaide Parklands Street Circuit. Incredible stuff indeed, and we're looking forward to bringing you 3 races of exciting action tonight. Qualifying will be coming up first after these short messages from our sponsors.
You have something in your mind, you are able to create it, build it, and then someone from the other side of the world came and tell you that they want to spread this product to 50 countries in the world, so it's a huge personal achievement.
Well, a fantastic roster of partners, sponsors, and supporters for this brilliant series, not least Speednation. Thanks to Speednation, a fan vote after the end of every round of the finals to decide the driver of the day. And with 58% of the vote after round 3, the Speednation fan favourite for this round is going to be Josh Silcock. A fantastic set of drives last week. Scott Rankin stood by with Josh for a chat.
Hey, Josh, obviously very, very happy with the way that things went last time out, and I can see you at the moment sitting there just doing some practice and preparations, top of the timesheets. And I think this is a big one. We just talked about qualifying. It's going to be impressively important tonight, is the big challenge. Pace feels good, though, after the practice session.
Yeah, pace looks pretty good in the qualifying, in the practice session, sorry. The qualifying session is, you know, there's a bit of pressure on that because it's so easy to get an off track here. And yeah, I mean, look, just put a lap down early, put a banker in, and then you see if we can improve a bit later on. But yeah, important to not get the off track and yeah, put a lap down, put you up the top.
All right, well, that's enough about tonight at least. Let's take the stress level back a little bit. Feeling really, really confident. Big showing last week, really switched on drive. I think that was the big thing that we talked about at the end of last week. Adelaide's going to require a little bit more of that racecraft. Confidence levels, like you said, pace is good. Drove really, really well last week, and well, the fans supported you. So, mate, backing your skill set then by the sounds of things.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what we can do. We'll just make the most of every race that we can, and yeah, see where we end up at the end of the night. But yeah, you know, Ewan and Cooper are both quick, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out with a street circuit.
Mate, finally, do you want to give us a wave and a shuckers or anything you'd like to do to let everyone know how happy you are for the fan vote from last week?
Nah, huge thanks to Speednation for yeah, putting up the gloves as a prize. It's, you know, cool to come away with something, and yeah, hopefully can come away with a bit more tonight. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes.
Mate, you're on camera, so I caught every single moment of that shy moment right there. You don't like being called out by the fans. They're all giving you so much support tonight, mate. Might be another race of support.
Sweet, yes, thanks, guys.
I'll stop bothering you, mate. Get the head down. Go get them.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Great stuff. Great stuff from Josh Silcock there. Our viewer, a driver of the round viewer vote, thanks to Speednation, winning last week's vote. He gets a pair of sim racing gloves thanks to Speednation. And also a random viewer that votes in the vote also gets a pair of sim racing gloves from Speednation. The winner of the viewer giveaway for round 3 is Laurie Graham. That's Laurie Graham. If you are tuning in and you've just heard your name, get in touch with the NZ Sim Racing TV socials to arrange delivery of your prize. Big congratulations to Laurie and, of course, to Josh Silcock. Once again, 58% of the vote. A lot of supporters from last round, and rightly so. Fantastic performances last week, Scott, and he's right up there this week too.
Yeah, really, really impressed with the way that he drives. And again, you heard him talk last week. If you were tuning in, he said, you know, obviously there is that mix and that wild card element a little bit sometimes of having the wild card drivers that are here proudly brought to us by our sponsors of guys that are actually out there and driving the 86s. They're really a test in some aspects, and oftentimes you see in elements of real world 86 racing at the right times is important. And I think Lee Zeltwenger is another guy that sort of encompasses that. He's one of our wild cards here tonight. He's actually out racing this evening, had to race back from the racetrack just to get here, get on the sim in time. So it was a question mark whether or not he'd make it in time. Has made it in time, but that's a big thing. He chose to fight at the right times, and he chose to challenge at the right times, and that's why he put up multiple strong races that have really clawed his way back. And he's going to need that tonight if he can think about holding P1. All he can do, though, is have his best race. That's it. That's all he's got to focus on.
That's it. And while we're talking about Lee Zeltwenger, he is in fact last year's CareVets Scholarship winner. And well, the first overall prize for this Sim Racing Championship is an automatic advance to the CareVets Toyota 86 Scholarship Competition in March. That's not too far away. They'll be competing in both on and off-track performance activities against the judging panel, and the winner of the scholarship will receive a season drive in the CareVets Toyota 86 for the 2026 Toyota Trophy Series. Lee Zeltwenger, of course, taking that honor. last year. And as you said, having to race back from Manfield to get into the sim here and have a drive at virtual Adelaide. We are just about at the end of practice here. There's an awful lot up for grabs, not just for the first prize. Second overall prize, a $1,000 MOZA Racing voucher, which is redeemable at Speednation. The driver who finishes third overall in the championship will get a $450 voucher to the Man Racing Products Sim Racing store. And of course, we have another MRP Sim Racing store voucher of $40 in value for the fastest lap of the round, excluding qualifying. So the fastest race lap will certainly be getting that. Well, we'll be going through the other prizes as the event goes on. I think it's time to focus on qualifying, see who can possibly beat Josh Silcock to provisional pole for the first race of the evening. Ewan Baker managing to get within 800ths of a second of him, 700ths even, at the end of practice. And Alex Sprague isn't too far away either, just another couple of hundredths back. It's going to be a super tight qualifying session with well over 20 cars getting ready to race here at Adelaide. Laps taking about 90 seconds. We have 15 minutes in order to complete all of that. Wait for that racetrack to come alive. Qualifying is on. Now, as the drivers cram out of the pits here, Scott, they'll be focusing on getting as much space as they can here. Slipstream might be a factor down the back stretch and through turn 8, but I think you want a bit of real estate at a place like this.
You want a clean lap. You want the opportunity that somebody ahead of you is not going to have a massive moment going through the first chicane, and then you have to abort that lap. 15 minutes on the board. There is time, and that'll be the big thing tonight, that, you know, be prepared to let a lap go early. And the reason I say let a lap go early is that gives you a little bit of an element to bring the tyres back down a few notches and really go after it with supreme grip. You've got to bring them up to temperature. You've got to get them warm. You've got to get them rolling, but then you've got to optimize where the lap speed's available. So there's multiple elements here. There's difficulty. That chicane, you blow through it on the first lap or any lap and pick yourself up a slowdown, that lap is immediately gone. Then there's pack management. Then there's pace management. When you're going for it, where you're going for it, all of these are critical decisions these drivers have to make in qualifying tonight.
Yeah, plenty of critical decisions indeed. A little bit of give and take into the hairpin here as Avon Dunn tries his best to get into line with everybody. The leader of the charge for the first qualifying lap is going to be Ewan Baker, equals second in the championship. So let's see what he can do as he brings it out of the final hairpin, uses all the curb on the exit, and now the pressure is on. Need to get a lap in the low 1:30s to try and have a run at pole position. But it all starts here at the center chicane. Looks like Baker nailed the line through there. No slowdown for him.
Yep, builds his way through. So first little box checked, and then he's going to jump through to the chicane. Have a look at a little bit of a bump as well as they crest the road. Remember, much the same as Bathurst has, there's a crown on the road here, which means as you go away to the left-hand side, the car's going to want to keep flowing that way. A little bit of an upset on it. Then you come back down here to the right-hander before you tip onto the back straightaway. You want to carry up and over that curb. And years gone by, there was a real estate worth of space on the other side of the curb. You could use all of that. Well, not so in modern Adelaide. Then it's the big old run down the back straightaway. And how about this corner? This requires bravery, commitment, planning. If you start understeering halfway through, it's gone, it's all over, you're in the fence.
Yes, but Ewan Baker making a very tidy run of things through the fearsome turn 8, and his run through the hairpin looked nice and simple as well. This is one of the treacherous points on the lap that I pointed out before. You see how that the drivers are avoiding the apex curb there. It's quite a brutal curb. It's similar in profile to the sausage curbs that you see at various circuits around the world. Really does a number on the suspension if you hit it wrong, and not least ruins your momentum through the corner. Final sector looks clean enough for Ewan Baker. Let's see what the time ultimately is. Across the line he comes, and it's a 1:30.4. That's a reasonable banker, but I think there's a few more tenths in it.
Yeah, tricky. And I've just been keeping half an eye on Cooper Prout and where he was going. Remember, he wasn't at the pointiest end of the field, but he also wasn't all that far away. The big problem for Cooper, lap 1 did not count. So he had to try and set himself up. And he also left it really, really late to find a hole in traffic. So the challenge for him now is he had to let a whole bunch of cars go basically at the apex of the final corner. Could be a 10th worth of pace missing down the start-finish straight. Getting a lap together, though, and getting a banked lap together, that is very, very important. Ewan's done that to start things off. The rest of them, that's what they've got to try and do next. This is James Corbin just ahead of him, who's actually at the top of the timing sheets, I believe at the moment. No, my timing's out.
Yeah, still, oh, hang on. I was about to say it was still Ewan Baker at the top, but James McIver has just gone to provisional pole, taking 1.5 tenths or so out of Ewan Baker's time. And see Prout picking up the slipstream here. This is important. Maybe he had to lift off through turn 8. That could be a problem for him, but makes his way past into the hairpin, and this may very well be the small boost that Cooper Prout needs to set an initial time that is actually worth something here. 1 minute 34.9 is the time that he currently has on the board. That is 5 seconds off what we're expecting from everyone today. Prout was certainly able to run 1 minute 30s in practice. Made his way past James Corbin on the back stretch, and now a run to the line. We'll see what Cooper Prout has in store for us here, how many aces he has up his sleeve. And lap is done, and it's P2. Not bad.
Yeah, there we go. Time put together, time put on the board. Gets the slowdown, though, on this lap as he bounced over that chicane. So he's going to have to abort. James Corbin had to abort on the previous lap that was just in behind him right there, and he aborted down the back straightaway. So again, have a look at what they're doing. Jumps right out of the way. Again, smart. This is a great opportunity for Cooper to just think, where's the traffic on the track? What can I do to get as far away from these guys as possible? The big thing I'm noticing nice and early, Reese, though, is that they're taking that chicane comfortably. There's no real issues. But you've also got to remember the first time they take that chicane in anger tonight, they've done a whole lap to warm up. When we get over to the first race, they're firing off with just the tiniest hint of tyre warming. That could trigger some instability in the rear end of the car as it comes back down. The tyres just aren't squishy. They don't move all over the road and press themselves into the road. They stay quite stiff in that aspect, and that's what takes the grip away. And, well, there he was, quickest in practice, quickest in qualifying.
Yeah, Josh Silcock brings the time down to a 1 minute 30.04, and well, it looks like the drivers are going to have to find an extra couple of tenths somewhere to get more in touch with that. We kept an eye on Nico Scholes ever so briefly for a moment there. Currently P6 in qualifying. He's one of the wild card entries, and he was here last round as well at the Nürburgring, where he earned the Hard Charger award, which was really awesome to see. This time he has elected to take part in qualifying, and he's showing what his pace truly is. He's going to be competing for the top 5 here.
Yep, challenging, and we saw that progression through the field as well last week. That sort of matched along with what we thought he was potentially capable of. Starting up towards the pointy end of things, another little bit of a challenge as well. So from Scholes, there's a lot of opportunity to really put that foot forward and show us what he's capable of. I'm just taking a quick look. I was actually really impressed by McIver's first lap, and then he immediately got a slowdown and wasn't able to carry on with it on that second lap. But how about Sprague? And realistically, have a look at the spread in the top 3. You've got Silcock in P1, Ewan Baker and Cooper Prout 4 and 5. So it's just far enough back that there is a risk there, whereas Silcock's got all of that country on the run to turn number 1 to sort of work with. So, you know, a few guys up and down. I don't think Avon Dunn's necessarily put his best lap together in the session at the moment. That's also worthwhile pointing out, is that these guys have all been asked to put a major lap together, and they've done that. So, you know, that was the biggest thing I was worried about, is, you know, maybe rushing qualifying, not thinking it through enough. But no, they've all gone out and done a very professional job.
Yeah, and it looks like pretty much everybody, aside from Bryce Harding and Paul Booth, have set laps at the moment. Car spun on the way into the final sector. That appears to be Cooper Prout, who has gone around. So that's a small bump in the road for our championship leader. And it would appear he'll be making his way straight into the pits from there. Still got just over 6.5 minutes remaining in the session, so plenty of time to get back out there, get some new rubber on the car, and go for another lap. Keeping an eye on track conditions here at the moment. It's actually quite warm out there. It's 32 degrees Celsius on the virtual asphalt at the moment. So I guess the silver lining for that is you won't need much effort to warm up the tires.
Yeah, but warm racetrack, not necessarily the peak available in terms of grip as well. So, you know, it brings its own challenges. But the good news is obviously that pace is there, and everyone seemed to be relatively putting those laps together, which I'm impressed with. So just, like I said, just a few different little bits and pieces, little moments, but, you know, everyone's put a banker together, and that's the big thing. And I just went back and had a look at that incident for Cooper Prout, just tagged the tyre barrier on the exit of that corner, that bundle that we were talking about prior to the race. It's exactly that one right here on the exit. Yeah, that one on the outside. That's what he tagged, and that's what he ran around off. It's savage if it's not easy. And you know what? Our production crew are backing us up this week. They've got a replay ready to roll.
They have indeed, thanks to Creme Insurance on the replays. Mark Mallard from Creme Insurance in particular, one of the big benefactors of grassroots motorsport in New Zealand, as well as this series as well. Right there, just hitching it on the exit was Cooper Prout, and, well, fortunately, about a car's width of space on the outside for drivers to make their way through, so it didn't cause any further issues for anyone else, but the drivers will need to look out for that in the race. If they go too hot into, I believe it's turn 11 is that corner, then they will ultimately cause some big dramas for everyone behind.
Yeah, so, you know, that'll be a major problem, particularly on lap 1. And that congestion. It's why qualifying here is so important. But, you know, also the qualifying opportunities and the overtaking opportunities come at a premium. So, you know, being able to challenge and get that one done a little bit later on in the race, not all that easy. It looks like everyone's just about cycled through the pit lane. I've got Silcock on an outlap at the moment. Sprague also. And Cooper Prout, after that spin, came back into the pit lane. And I think his qualifying session might be done. He's still in the lane with about 4 minutes on the clock. So I just don't know that he's going to be able to get back out there and get a lap together with the time he's got left.
Well, we'll see. For what it's worth, everyone has now set lap times in the session, all of our competitors, and it's quite a tight field spread, has to be said. 22 cars covered by just over 1.2 seconds as things stand. Lee Zeltwanger, our wild card, currently the last of them, but if he gains another 10th or so, then he will be able to elevate himself off that last grid spot. But it's really competitive in the middle of the top 10 once more. There's gaps of mere hundredths between cars at times. And for the last position in the top 10, Matt Priest versus Dylan Jordan, there is only 4 hundredths of a second in it. So we'll see what kind of improvements are made here in the last 3.5 minutes. It's crunch time. It's time to take what you've learned from your initial hot lap and see where you can improve.
Yeah. See if there's anything left on the table. Maybe, look, you've got a pretty good lap together. Maybe go and try and find a drafting buddy now. We talked about earlier on, obviously, having a little bit of clear track, and that's important. But why not take a risk now? You've got an important lap on the board. Somebody just improved. I think Nico Skulls actually just improved. He's just jumped to 4th. No, I think that's wrong. Somebody else has just made a lap, because I thought I saw time sliding down the list. So...
Yeah, I'm looking, but I'm not seeing any big changes in the last few moments. You are right, though. Nico Scholes has made an improvement to 4th, and all he needs to do is gain another couple of hundredths, and he might be having half a chance of starting on the front row here.
Just keeping an eye on, I think Cooper Prout's actually backing up. He's got a big group of cars coming his way, and in this group is Josh Silcock. So this is where Cooper Prout is on the run to the last corner. He's looking desperately for a tow at the moment. And in this next group of cars is Graham Wall, James Corbin, Bryce Harding, Josh Silcock, and James McIver, all in the group. And that means that there's a lot of opportunity of quick drivers capable of pace. So the tricky part was he just had to let a car go at the right time. But now if he can stick this lap together, and that was wide at the last corner, there may not necessarily be the tyres and the heat that he's after, but there is a significant tow.
There certainly is. We saw it when we were on board with him a few moments ago. All four wheels off the ground through the center chicane. Very impressive run there. But Cooper Prout for the moment behind Bryce Harding. Harding currently P7, and looks like on non-draft pace, he and Prout are actually quite close. So I think Prout will get a nice benefit here running behind the number 79.
Yeah, unless Harding actually aborts this lap. He's actually been held up and balked just a little bit. McIver, no, Silcock. Silcock got to slow down.
Oh, he's pulling out.
The lap. Yeah, there's the bail. So I was just going to say, I think he's having a crack, and I think Harding just tried a little bit too hard, and then there were cars in the way. And I definitely saw a slowdown penalty, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's Silcock. So I think for everybody in that top 5, top 6, I think their laps are done, because we know Harding's definitely done. It's just Cooper Prout that might be on a lap.
Yeah, of course, this being a multi-race server, the way it works when you set up hosted servers on iRacing, if you have a heat format like we've got, again, Cooper Prout collects it out of turn 11. Yep, lap is done. But it's a hard cut to the end of the session. You know, you aren't able to finish the lap you're on when the timer hits 0. It's just clock hits 0. Okay, qualifying's done. We're going to the race now. So you do need to be coming into the final sector on your final hot lap right now in order to actually get a time on the grid. Whole host of drivers coming into the pit lane now. Silcock, McIver, Harding, Prout's already in there as well, but it would appear that Dylan Jordan is keeping the lap up here. If that's going to be an improvement for him, Corey Croson behind him definitely improves all the way up from outside the top 10 to 5th.
Yeah, that's a big lap at a big point in the session as well. One more driver had an opportunity to get it done there, and I think we're going to run out of time. Sprague is actually coming through to try and complete a lap. I don't know if he'll get to the line. He's got 2-1. I think he's just going to be short. Maybe he did get the line. Actually, you know what? He might have got that lap in. I don't think it was improvement, though. It was a 30.7. No, so it wasn't an improvement. So
that's a shame for Alex Sprague, right in the dying moments of the session. Well, that's qualifying over, and it's time now for race number 1. Goodness me, what a field we've got here. Josh Silcock, the Speednation fan vote winner from last round, starting on pole position alongside Alex Sprague, with James McIver and Nico Scholes on row number 2. We have Corey Croson starting in P5 alongside championship equal second place Ewan Baker, with Cooper Prout, the championship leader, starting P7 alongside Bryce Harding. Our top 10 will be rounded out by Paul Booth and James Corbin.
Outside the 10, though, we get back to 11th. Matt Priest had a reasonable race last time out. Dylan Jordan found himself in the wars. They'll have to come outside the 10. Graham Wall and Avon Dunn. I don't think Dunn put the lap together he necessarily would have liked. He was scrapping for that one late on in qualifying out of 13th and 14th. Nico Cordier is definitely a little bit deeper in the field. Again, another driver that's not necessarily had the cleanest of races and series thus far. Billy Rowley was started alongside of him. Back to 17th and 18th is the South African expat in Darren Lobb alongside of Henry Fires, and rounding out the top 20 is 19th place Tim Sullivan and Lee Zeltwanger, the wild card, in 20th spot.
Only one more row on the grid. It's taken up by Justin Davies and Ross Buchan. So 11 rows, 22 cars, and 3.24 kilometers per lap. Multiply that by 13, whatever number you arrive at, is the race distance. I don't quite have those numbers in my head, but regardless, the run to turn 1 is pretty short at this circuit, and the center chicane is quite open. It's very difficult to run side by side through there on the first lap. We are almost certainly going to be seeing a few drivers having to take to the runoff area, and we're going to be seeing plenty of drivers grab slowdown penalties on the first lap. The drivers up the front need to make sure that they are not among them. So, standing start, no traction control in the fixed setup provided by Hugo Allen. Revs are rising, the Flat Force Symphony descending upon Adelaide, and we are away. A brilliant start from Josh Silcock, and it looks like Nico Scholes was getting a good jump off the start as well, but Baker seems to be getting an excellent run there. He's on the outside into turn 1 though, and across the curbs they will come. It's contact and 3 wide. Corey Croson, Ewan Baker and Cooper Prout. My goodness me. Prout is going to get into P5, but not without some hard work on the way.
Yeah, and that's what qualifying does. If you're one row further ahead for either of those guys, you get through there clean, you know that Ewan Baker's going to come hard at you. And Cooper, again, he needs a clean race, but he still needs a decent points haul. He just wants to be a touch further to the front. He'll settle out. Once he's got now through to P5, he'll probably just settle in. Oh, car got the wall. I think it might have been Corey Croson.
Yeah, it's something you're going to be seeing a lot here today. Cars just clipping those concrete walls through the sectors they come, and Josh Silcock under pressure from Alex Sprague, who's going to pull out from behind and go for the move at the Duquetteville hairpin. Brake as late as you dare. Plenty of space on the way in, but not much space on the way out. Josh Silcock clambering over the curb there as the better run goes to Alex Sprague, now leading into the final sector.
Yeah, but also smart and circumspect from Silcock. And this is what he did well last week, was race what he needed to race. He needs 78 points. He needs more than 78 points over Cooper Prout. But at the same time, he needs to make sure they get a break. So a little bit of aggression, because that basically says, and again, he's got a teammate in behind him in James McIver, so he's going to have a little bit of support. I don't think they want to go through the first chicane side by side, but he just wants to make Alex Sprague think he's going to be a little bit aggressive. This is, yeah, that's smart.
Yep, narrow line into the first corner there, but it looks like both of our leaders were slowed up a bit. McIver's going to give Josh Silcock a big bump in the rear as they make their way into turn 4. And it's side by side between the teammates now. Could be a slight bit of drama there for Silcock. It's certainly giving half a chance to Nico Scholes, who gets up the inside at turn 5. Oh, goodness, we're going to be seeing a lot of close racing through that staircase section, aren't we?
That's for sure, particularly whilst they're packed up like this, and that's led to McIver actually picking up a little bit of the inside curb and flighting both of the inside wheels on the run down the back straightaway. There was contact. There was a little door-to-door bump, and then there was a little bump on the exit between both McIver and Scholes. So a little bit of paint traded. Everyone walks away from the scene of the crime, though. Everyone's still in this one. The big thing, though, brought Cooper Prout and Ewan Baker back together, and they're right back up in behind these guys. Oh, there goes the Sen.
Oh, yep, there we go. Up the inside then, but the change for position is not beckoning just yet. Prout defensive on the inside, but this is the weakest corner for Cooper Prout, that left-hander. He's had a few problems in qualifying, and that will allow Baker alongside into the final turn here. Could be a switchback maneuver that we see from our championship protagonists. Prout defensive on the inside, but Baker has got another issue, and that issue's name is Corey Croson.
Yeah, and Croson sensed an opportunity and absolutely went for it. The problem is he's now going to be side by side as they enter the chicane. They'd love to slot back in. Croson eventually will yield on that one, but it's going to mean all of the track limits. James McIver just ahead of these guys. Slow down penalty. Too much of the chicane through the first sector. Scholes is right there and right on his bumper and making sure that he knows about it.
Yeah, James McIver's been looking for good results all through the final series. It didn't get off to the best start for him round 1 at the bend while he was battling for the lead. He had a hardware failure. His wheel failed on him. Scholes, meanwhile, clipping the wall through the staircase there, and it looks like McIver's going to give up the spot, still clearing that slowdown.
Well, it's still going, it's still going, it's still going. He's at risk of getting a penalty. He was so close to getting a black flag. That one nearly timed out. You got 30 seconds to serve a slowdown penalty. Any longer than that, side by side. Paul Booth was the brave guy who went around the outside at the kink. Now he's going to get harassed by Corbin on the run down to the hairpin as well. So he was 3rd at the start of the lap. He's now 9th. He's now 10th as James McIver. That is how much punishing that first chicane can be.
Certainly, and well, serving it there on the run down the back straight, that's what cost him the most positions there. This battle just outside the top 10 as well. Dylan Jordan, Nico Cordier, Matt Priest, they're all jostling for places. Corbin and McIver, meanwhile, dropping back to the back end of the top 10 here, but that's not the worst thing in the world. They're going to be the front row for race 2 if they stay there. Yeah,
so maybe flip it and go the other direction and protect that position a little bit. Points are important, but they're only important to the guys that are in really a shout of trying to win something. Now Corey Croson's picked himself up a slowdown penalty. So they are big, risky lunges across the curbing. He's going to go side by side down through turn number 4 as well. Yields that spot out to Paul Booth. But look at the difference in the amount of time lost. He served that one early and in a spot where he was less likely to be vulnerable. Whereas McIver just wanted to carry on with it, serve at the last possible opportunity. Risked a black flag and a lot more speed down the back straightaway.
Oh, that was a big hit there for James Corbin into the wall, and McIver is going to try and go for the move at turn 8 here through the right-hand kink. Should be ahead by the time they get to the turn-in point. There won't be much of a fight there from James Corbin. Oh, Will there. Oh, gets squeezed into the wall there. I mean, these small sports cars can certainly take a beating at the best of times, but they'll want to avoid grazing the wall too much from here on out.
Yeah, and that's taking risk to the maximum heading in on the outside. It's really risky. Obviously, in the real world, you just wouldn't take that. That's too much of a risk to try and be on the outside down at turn 8 in the kink at Adelaide. You just wouldn't do it. It's senseless. In sim racing, that fear factor gets pulled back a little bit, and that's why James Corbin was being a little bit more aggressive with it. Corey Crowson and Paul Booth trading a little bit of paint just ahead of these guys. And how about this one? Here it goes, up inside the top 5. Ewan Baker has a go at Nico Skulls. The Skulls has dropped back. I'd say a slowdown penalty as well. Fastest lap of the race. Reese, these guys are throwing down at Adelaide.
That they are. Fantastic stuff, but has allowed Cooper Prout to get away slightly. Nico Skulls still in trouble from Bryce Harding there as he tries desperately to get back onto the racing line. Sprague and Silcock at the front of the field, still lapping Linus Stern, about half a second between the two of them. Sprague is I think, executing this quite nicely, but Silcock has a few plans, I think. He'll be trying his best to keep in the slipstream here and maybe go for a move in the short term. They need to keep an eye out for everyone behind, though. Baker, of course, with that fastest lap, it was 3-4 tenths quicker than what our leaders could manage, so they're not out of the woods.
No, they aren't. They're being dragged back in with a little bit of drafting support, which does help. And the other thing is Sparks already starting to block, so he's a little bit worried. 13 laps in this first one. We're not halfway through yet, and he's already feeling a little bit vulnerable. If I was in Alex Sprague's shoes, I think Silcock's just sort of showing that intention to just sit, play nice, play calm. His focus is on the back end of the race. We saw that last week at the Nürburgring. Did want to pull a move, but he wanted to be patient with it. And he's patient because these two guys have got track position. If they can disappear, they're 1.5 seconds ahead of Cooper Prout. If they can just keep punching at this rate, mate, it doesn't matter. They're fighting for first and second. That's as far as they will possibly fall. So that's those smarts that are going through these guys' heads right now. Don't fight, pull away. We can fight a little bit later on.
Yeah, of course, race 3 probably won't have that philosophy. It will only be 10 laps in length, but races 1 and 2 are the longest of the night. So I think a bit more of a long-term approach to things is going to be beneficial. Some nice lines that we're seeing from Sprague here as he absolutely monsters that curve on the exit of the staircase section. And you'll see the run through turn 8 here. It's going to be flat out in these cars, I think. I didn't notice any breathes of the throttle. Oh, there's a lift right there at the apex, so that's a confidence lift. Potentially, you could do it flat out if you're brave enough, but I think the drivers are just doing their best to preserve and get to the end here.
You see immediately come through the apex and moves to the right-hand side, so he is a little bit feeling vulnerable at the end of the back straight. At the moment, he's got reasonable pace. He did put a little bit of time over Ewan Baker on that lap, which is he's in 4th, but Cooper Prout only took a 10th out of him the previous lap. Just keen to have a look again. I think Cooper Prout's actually just closed in about another 10th or so, which will bring him back into the draft. So Prout's got the speed through the middle of this race, and that will mean that they'll probably feel a little bit vulnerable late on.
Well, Nico Cordier falling down the order. There's been a problem for the number 69, who had quite the embattled race at the Nürburgring last week. And he's fallen down to 19th now. Not entirely sure what's going on with him, but we'll keep our eyes peeled on the front for now. Cooper Prout has been working steadfastly to bring that gap down. 1 minute 30.7 on the previous lap, taking upwards of 5-6 tenths of a second out of the top 2.
Yeah, it's a really, really good run. And I knew that was something untoward happening to Nico Cordier. Or is it? We're going to have to find out when we see this one, but the car was parked up on the apex of the last corner. And it's quite tricky to end up there without a little bit of contact. So Darren Lobb, I think, on his outside. Oh. I think he squeezed him. I've got to be honest. I think that might be on Nico. I think he's come slightly left there.
Yeah, I mean, it can be difficult to judge because netcode does play a part in it as well. Sometimes if there's a tiny bit of side-to-side contact, the cars can get sucked into each other if the connection isn't great. But yeah, I think to be fair to Lob, there was grass on his left-hand side. He couldn't move any further to the left than he did.
No, he had, what, a few centimetres he could really move, so he was right out there and on track limits. So, yeah, not much more he could do. How about Cooper Prout, though? On that most recent lap, he did a 131 flat. Our leaders were both, 130.7 on that most recent lap. What's he going to do this time by? Leaders run 31.5, 31.3, 30.9. So Cooper Prout's dragged himself back into this lead battle. Not enough to nick fastest lap of the day. And the problem for Ewan Baker is he actually didn't make any ground on this group, but they might now that they're all line astern and fighting. So Ewan's definitely in search of some points here. So just to remind everyone watching along at home, Cooper Prout sits on, I believe it was 348 points, 270 back to second and third, which was, it was Ewan Baker and Josh Silcock after that stunning drive in all three races last week from Silcock. 78 points is the margin they've got to overhaul. So, you know, race one's going to plan really for Cooper Prout because he's only one spot behind Silcock. Yeah, he's earning a couple points, but he's got to earn 78 back. He's got to keep a good head on his shoulders in race two.
Yeah, and don't forget, points for a win in this series is 75 points. So really, if Prout finishes there, then it's just going to increase the advantage that he has. Both Silcock and Baker need Prout to retire from one of the races tonight in order to have a chance at that title.
Yeah, big margin, but three races, a lot of stuff that can happen across the three races as well. So not over and done, but by every stretch, he's ticking every single box that he needs to tick for now. This changes a little bit. What does he do? Does he get a little bit on the offense? I mean, he's had the benefit of draft to drive his way all the way back up to this group, but now he's here. Does he get aggressive? Because he's got pace at this point in time. So this is where that championship first or race result first mindset, and sometimes you can second guess yourself, and that's the big issue. Not a good run through the chicane though for Sprague.
Yeah, that's going to be an outside run here, almost, for Josh Silcock, but the inside line wins just about every time in this section of the racetrack. And now he has to get back onto rhythm to avoid getting passed by Prout. He's a little bit wider through the right-hander, though. Coming onto the back stretch, let's see what they do here. You want to avoid the curb on the apex of that corner. It's quite sharp and elevated, so I think we were on board with James Corbin in qualifying, seeing him two-wheeling it through there, as now the defense is starting here for Alex Sprague. He gives a good amount of space to Josh Silcock, but Silcock gets into the wall, and Cooper Prout's going to try and go through the middle here to take the lead. Can he get it done around the outside of Duquetteville? Not quite. Sprague stays ahead.
And they're not done yet. Sprague still just barely ahead. There was just about nothing between them as they come off of turn 9 and back to 10 and 11. Now Silcock's not necessarily getting the drive. And hello, have you looked in the background? Because all of a sudden, lurking, Ewan Baker starts to show up on the scene. This is going to become a 4-car lead pack in a moment. But the thing at the moment, I don't think Silcock's got a straight car anymore. I think there's damage on the left-hand side of that thing.
Yeah, it doesn't look healthy. At least it didn't through the final sector. Don't forget, Ewan Baker is dragging Nico Scholes with him as well, the wildcard entry. So we're going to be seeing potentially a 5-way fight for the win in race 1. Still 4 laps remaining in the race. Plenty of time for that to be sorted out.
We got a car limping at the back end of the field. I think he's just barely going to make it back to the pits. I'm just sort of waiting for an update to find out who it was. It's not Zellweger. He's in pit lane. It's not Tim Sullivan. I think it's Matt Priest. Yeah. Who hasn't make it back to pit lane. He's still struggling, and that thing is bent, and I'm fairly certain it's the same wall that we saw Prout hit in qualifying.
Yeah, Matt Priest effectively doesn't have a front end on his car anymore, which is a real shame. It actually looks like it wasn't the tyre barrier that he caught. It was the back of James Corbin through the very same corner. Roughly the same location, but you'll see Corbin and Dylan Jordan going side by side here, and then just a little tap on the exit and hard into the concrete.
and everyone checking up and just didn't read the runs and where the momentum was in everyone, and they're all trying to filter in and box on. And the thing is, you get deeper back in that pack, and all of a sudden the tempers come up, the adrenaline comes up. You don't start making great decisions when you're deep in the pack because everyone's boxing on for decisions, so boxing on for just any sort of real estate they possibly can. I still feel like Silcock is just that wall hit. I think has taken something away from the number 666.
Yeah, he's not holding on to the pace he used to. Across the line, 131.1 from Alex Sprague, a 31.2 from Prout, 31.3 from Silcock, and a 31.07 from Ewan Baker. He is on a charge right now, wants to get into that top 3, needs to finish ahead of Cooper Prout to get into the best scenario to keep his championship hopes alive. Baker running in VR, of course, in the KSR Speednation number 34, and he'll be trying his best to peer around these corners, but they don't give you much of a sight line on the way through. Half of these corners, you're tipping the car in and just hoping you get out the other side all right.
Yeah, it's tricky as well. Sometimes you take a look at the driver's shots, and you can read a little bit about them. Sometimes you can stare a little bit through a helmet on the real-world drivers. You can get a little bit of a flash of red underneath the helmet, and they're really working hard and working things out. But he just looks actually pretty cool, calm, and chilled out. There's not a lot of movement about, but you can't see the eyes. And the eyes are probably one of the biggest tells of how a driver's feeling at any one point in time. But that's the biggest thing about running VR, is even when you're on the webcam, you get to hold all your secrets, play your cards close to the chest.
Yeah, can't see much of Baker's expression from there. Let's see then if he has a go at Josh Silcock coming into the final corner here. The inside line will be closed by Silcock, so no chance for Baker to get by. Sprague, meanwhile, has gotten back into the lead versus Cooper Prout, and it looks like Nico Scholes is just happy to sit back and watch this battle unfold. He's still close enough to take advantage if something goes awry.
Can somebody get over the concession stands? Nico Scholes wants one big bucket of popcorn to watch what's about to unfold, I think. 2 laps left to run, 6 Ks or so on the way round here, and 42 Ks the first distance for our first race tonight as well. Cooper Prout, I think if you'd have spoken to him about 5 laps ago, was he going to have a shot at this lead, or was he just going to crawl up on this pack? I think he would have told you, look, I'm just going to put the points on the board. Then he got into the pack. Then he's picked off Silcock. Then he saw all the drama that happened a couple laps ago. I reckon the adrenaline's kicked in a little bit. He is certainly starting to show the nose. If he gets points, though, in this race, he bonuses points over both the guys he's chasing and chasing him in the championship. That's a win. They've got to now do more work in less races.
Here comes the slipstream into the Duquetteville hairpin. Alex Sprague defending all the way to the right side of the circuit, and that's a good defense. Prout tips it in, but he has to open up the steering halfway through. Sprague getting the rear end a little loose on the exit. These warm track temperatures are starting to come into play. The tires will be slightly overheated at this point, the amount of load they're putting through. You got to remember, again, no traction control on this setup. You can use traction control on the sim in this car, but the fixed setup doesn't allow you to use it in this series, so they need to be absolutely pinpoint on their application here. White flag out, and the lead is on, and it's the same between Silcock and Baker too.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of contact and rubbing out of the final corner, and you mentioned it, the rear tyres for Sprague. So Sprague and Prout were right into each other. Baker and Silcock are just about into each other as well. All the top 4, and Nico Scholes is just watching what's going to fall in his hat. Cooper Prout's going to slow down, though. Baker's going to try the long way around at turn 4. Tries to find any opportunity. He's got the inside at 5. Slowdown penalty still on the table, though, for Cooper Prout. And finally, with a little bit of muscle, Nico Scholes is going to throw it in there as well. Now he gets into it.
Oh, there we go. Josh Silcock, unfortunately, with contact there. Nico Scholes lets him take the position back. Good move there. Not only good sportsmanship, but avoiding the ire of the stewards as well. It looks like Prout might have cleared his slowdown, but it's lost him any chance to fight for the lead. Alex Sprague is all alone out front, and Ewan Baker a mere 4/10 behind Cooper Prout. This last sector is going to be crucial.
Yeah, it is. Final couple corners. Has Cooper Prout saved anything for last? He's run a little bit wide and up and over the curbs. The rear end didn't like it. Spraga's looking good. He's looking solid. He's looked like all he's got to do is get through one more braking zone and he's got to race. Ewan Baker ran it all the way out to the curbing. He just about whacked that tyre barrier and threw it all away. So he left it all on the table, all on the line on the last lap. It's not going to be enough to get anything back from Cooper Prout, but he'll start ahead of him in the next race. Reverse grid, 16 laps, the points margin widens and Sprague takes a win.
Beautiful victory from Alex Sprague. He faced off all kinds of pressure there. Silcock and Scholes finished 4th and 5th ahead of James McIver, with Paul Booth and Bryce Harding there 7th and 8th. And there's your front row for race 2. Corey Crossan finished 10th and he will have pole.
Yeah. Big opportunity for him, an opportunity to lead from the front of the field and perhaps see if he can leverage that and turn it into some race results. Back deeper down in the field as well. I know Lee Zeltwanger actually didn't get to the end of race number 1, some sort of drama in the middle there, unfortunately for him. So to come from the rear in race number 2. How about that one? Race number 1 from Adelaide, 86s, that was all on the table. And Sprague just looked cool, calm and collected. Grabbed the lead on the first lap. Mate, I'm going to block, I'm going to defend, I'm going to do everything I need to do, but hung on to it nicely.
Yeah, certainly did. Well, the results then from the first race before we chat to one of the top finishers from that first race. In the front of the field, Alex Sprague, the gap 1.2 seconds in the end to Cooper Prout with that slowdown on the last lap. Ewan Baker completes the podium. Josh Silcock, Nico Scholes and James McIver round out your top 6 with Paul Booth, Bryce Harding, Dylan Jordan and Corey Crowson rounding out your top 10. Flip them and that'll be your top 10 for race 2. Scott.
Yeah, outside the 10 in terms of the results is going to be Darren Lobb. Drove through the field up to 11th for him. Justin Davies from James Corbin. Billy Rowley, Avon Dunn, Graham Warm, Nico Cordier, Ross Buchan, Tim Sullivan and Henry Fires to round out the 20.
And finally, we had Matt Priest and Lee Zeltwanger, unfortunately retiring from the race. Definitely damage in Priest's case, but unclear exactly what happened to Zeltwanger. Maybe we'll get some answers later on. But for now, we have our race 1 winner in here with us. We did briefly, but now we're going to bring him back in. Alex Sprague joins us, and man, what a drive. 2P1, you were under pressure the whole way there from Cooper. All it took was that minor mistake in the first corners on the last lap there. You got to be on your A game the whole way around here.
Yeah, definitely. Also, obviously being a street track, it's very tight and easy to make a mistake. But yeah, just sort of got out into the lead on the first couple of laps and just tried to manage it and defend the whole way, and was lucky enough that Cooper got a slowdown penalty, which took a bit of pressure off me at the end.
It must be interesting flinging the car between these walls. There's an awful lot of grip that the 86 has here in the sim, but it can be hard to find where the limit of grip is, especially with the track temperature as warm as it is. How are you finding it?
Yeah, definitely. It's you got to be pretty committed around here, and it's very tight in this bunch of drivers, so you got to be on your A game at all times.
Well, with the grid invert, you'll be starting effectively in the midfield back end of the top 10. It's going to be all about surviving the first lap, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely mid-pack. It's probably going to be pretty busy, but yeah, just sort of try get through those first couple turns and laps and try to build on into the race.
Well, 4th place in the championship coming into this round. You've certainly made up a few of those points, at least with the win in race 1, Alex. We appreciate you coming on, and best of luck in race 2.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Alex Sprague there winning the first race of the evening here at Adelaide. And just like that, we're ready for the grid for race number 2. Well, our top 10 inverted means that we're going to be seeing the number 15 of Corey Crossan starting on pole alongside Dylan Jordan, with Bryce Harding and Paul Booth on the second row. That's going to be a good chance for Harding and Booth. James McIver, he started 3rd for race 1, could only get 6th in the end. He will start 5th though, so there's a chance at getting some results back from there. Nico Scholes in the middle of the top 10 as the previous race. Josh Silcock ultimately starting down in P7 there with Baker, Prout and Sprague rounding out your top 10 from there. It's where they finished in race 1. Darren Lobb making up some great positions to P11. And Justin Davies with the most positions gained in the field in race 1 will start in 13th alongside Billy Rowley. Then Avon Dunn, Graham Wall, Nico Cordier, Ross Buchanan, Tim Sullivan and Henry Fires rounding out your top 20. Once again, Matt Priest and Lee Zeltwanger going to be starting off the final row of the grid. Scott, this is going to be the longest race of the day here. 16 laps on the cards for race 2. So the drivers will get into something of an endurance mode for this one.
A little bit, and the biggest thing that I sort of learned from watching that one as well was that the fact that the tyres actually did hurt and did go off just a little bit. A little bit of cloud cover is going to hit us for the start here of race number 2, but that also the invert top 10. These guys are going to be looking to use a little bit of their tyre up to try and drive through the field because the field is nice and condensed. Best time to actually gain some spots. The big thing for me, Ewan Baker. This reverse grid race has been his Achilles heel. He needs to get through this one. Sometimes can be a little bit too aggressive. That's always been the biggest problem with him. That's also one of his best attributes at times as well. So if he has one of his killer race number 2s, awesome, gets through the front, scores a whole bunch of points back, but sometimes let's go the opposite. We've only seen the bad ones from Ewan Baker so far. This could be the one he turns it around.
Certainly could be, and tyre management certainly going to be a big factor. The track temperature 44 degrees Celsius for the start of race 2, which is going to go off right this second. Puffs of smoke all the way through this field, and it's a pretty even start between our front row. Crossan versus Dylan Jordan into turn 1. And Crossan's going to be first to the apex. Jordan letting him go there. But Crossan's teammate Bryce Harding is going to be right on the back of them. Meanwhile, Paul Booth and James McIver, they're going to be rounding them up here into turn 4. McIver around the outside, potentially of Bryce Harding. Gets around Booth at least, but there's a huge pack of cars behind, all fighting for positions. Cooper Prout hasn't made up any spots so far. Still in P10, just trying to find a gap.
Yeah, he did actually lose a spot to Alex Sprague on the getaway. So Sprague got ahead of him, and now that's holding him up. They all got checked up as they head down into sort of turn 4, turn 5. Silcock just grabbed the wall on the exit of turn 7 and the run down the back straight away. So he's maybe got a little bit more damage. His car's leaning a little bit to the left. I wonder whether that one's not straight, and that'll be 2 races in a row, and that might just be enough to throw it down the gurgler. Car turned reasonably at turn 8 for him at the moment, but in the meantime, it's Crossan from Jordan. Now there's some panel beating for Bryce Harding and McIver.
McIver with a really late dive round the outside of the hairpin. Wasn't able to get it done on the first lap. The tyres are still very cold, and so you're unable to really maintain that momentum. But give it a couple of laps, and we might be seeing that move get pulled off very nicely. End of lap 1 then. And it is Corey Crossan in front by only a few tenths of a second. The field is super compressed at this stage, but Ewan Baker clearly leaving Josh Silcock in the dust.
Yeah, got speed, got positions. He got the priority on that first lap. Now, the problem is Nico Skulls is not all that much slower than him, so pick him off when he gets out of shape. But at the moment, if Skulls can get through, you're better off just following him through, because you'll pick off a spot and then you fight with Skulls once you're down the road a little bit. Again, it's smart, it's aggression, and there's a car in the barriers. McIver's gone around. There's 4 of them that have gone in that. Did the leaders get through? That's the big problem. Skulls got hit massively. Baker got through, and the track is just about jammed on the streets of Adelaide.
Did you see Cooper Prout just getting through there as well? He was really patient about it. He found the move, just 1 lane wide. Honestly, if we're going to be queuing up a replay of that, I'd like to also see Cooper Prout's onboard view, because that was quite interesting indeed. All starting with Bryce Harding getting squeezed to the inside there by James McIver. He ended up collecting the tyre bundle on the apex of turn 4, which we almost never see.
Yeah, really difficult, and that's the problem with going too wide through the staircase. You got to use all the room that's available to you. The critical thing, though, Baker got through, but more importantly, Cooper Prout did. He just needed to defend this points lead in race number 2. That was the critical factor. 16 laps here, lots of time. Another car in the barrier.
Paul Booth. That's Paul Booth out of turn 11 there. That was a lucky escape once again for Cooper Prout. He's had a really active second lap here, having to dodge 2 big incidents. It's managed to put him into 5th place. I'm amazed, honestly, that they were able to keep it rolling after that incident. But Josh Silcock, amazingly, running the fastest lap time of anybody on that lap, despite what we presume is damage. That just goes to show. Couple of incidents really mixing it up.
Yeah, maybe the car's actually a lot better than we thought, but here it comes. Here comes that replay. You called it, Reese, and we're going to get the onboard of Cooper Prout.
Yes, so Prout's view would have been completely invisible here. See the incident happen just out of view ahead. Then everyone gets on the brakes. Prout's thinking, where do I go? Where do I go? There's a spot. I'll pin the power and move on through. That was something like 5 positions gained just between those 2 corners.
Wow, yeah, and again, just smarts. Hung on the brake, hung on the brake. Even if he gets boxed in there, kept himself a clean car, because there's every opportunity, and that might just trigger a safety car. If you've got a clean car, you can continue fighting. If you've got a damaged car, you're bent back to pit lane. It might be night over, and we got a challenge for the race lead, and Ewan Baker! And Corey Croson are going to become a cropper at the hairpin. It's on again.
Oh, it certainly is. Oh, here comes Silcock again. Oh, almost gets into the rear of Baker there through T11. But Baker will escape for the moment, and he'll be free to battle with Corey Croson for the win of the race. Dylan Jordan and Cooper Prout, you just see them coming into view there behind them. It's a long way behind for those guys, so they'll need some really tough laps here to make up that gap. It's a steadily growing retirement list. Justin Davies was taken out in that incident at turn 4. I believe Alex Sprague was as well. So from the win to race 1, the win in race 1 to crashing out of race 2, not ideal for Alex Sprague, but I'm sure he'll try his best to move up in race 3. 1 minute 30.8 there for Darren Lobb, fastest lap, and that's back in P7. I think these guys are going to be too involved with each other to be worrying about pace for the moment. Baker is all over the back of Croson.
Yep, all over him and harassing him. This is like a red rag to a bull at the moment. Ewan Baker knows that he needs points on the board, and he's trying to shove it through. But the tricky thing is here, how much tire do you actually wear? How much tire do you use up in the run here on the outside of turn 8? Gets there, just barely gets the fence. He's going to switch it back over and get underneath him on the brakes lane. Silcock's going to have a look at the crossover, the switchback, gets propped up. Baker got the spot, but he loses it on the exit. Oh my word, the top 3 throwing hammer blows at the moment.
Oh, and Croson has to stay wide there. Just enough room to squeeze between Baker and the tyre bundle on the exit. Silcock's now in it as well. He's going to try and push Corey Croson along here through the last couple of turns. He and Baker will be side by side through the last hairpin, and to the apex goes, oh my goodness, contact on the exit. I think Baker's going to have the big advantage here.
Yeah, a little bit of contact, a little bit of check-up from Silcock. Now they're going to be going into turn 1, side by side. Does Ewan Baker force him to go down the narrow line? He backs out nice and early, but the line's a little bit narrow. Was that a little bit excess on the track usage? The stewards, for now, the automated steward will say no. Silcock will hang on to that one, but Ewan Baker gets rotated at 4.
Oh no, Ewan Baker, it went oh so wrong. He had that slow run through the chicane. He was trying to switch over to the racing line for turn 4, but Corey Croson was not willing to give him an inch.
No, and sometimes you fight, you squabble, you get into somebody, and it just keeps happening. It just keeps happening, it just keeps happening, and he just keeps finding ways to get into other people's things. This just keeps playing into Cooper Prout's hands. He is having it all fall into his lap. He had to be patient, he had to cut his way through, and now he's going to go side by side at the kick.
Up into P3 in style through turn 8, with Dylan Jordan giving him just enough room there on the exit. And Cooper Prout will be through into the top 3, still carrying some fantastic pace. 1 minute 30.7 on the last lap. Silcock and Croson lost a huge chunk of time there battling with Baker. So, yeah, you're right. This is all falling into Cooper Prout's hands. I think now with damage to his car, Ewan Baker might be out of the fight for the championship if he can't recover something. He's back with Lobb still fighting for P5.
And damage. He hit the wall hard on the left-hand side of that road as well. So he's going to have some damage, and If I know anything about Darren Lobb, having a lob is about the only way that man knows how to go racing. He is going to have a go at turn 1.
Oh, no.
They get into each other across the chicane.
Baker with a slowdown.
Yeah, got to slow down as a result of that one, so not much he can really do at the moment. He's just trying to harass and harangue, and that car is definitely bent. You see how slow he was in a straight line.
Yeah, this is not ideal for Baker. I mean, he'll need to serve that slowdown if he wants to stay in the race and get the points here, but it seems he's more keen to try and harass Darren Lobb as best he can. Got Avon Dunn catching up to them as well in the pale pink machine behind, so this is not ideal for Ewan Baker. Meanwhile, Josh Silcock and Corey Crossan side by side for the lead. Crossan getting into the wall there off turn 8. And this will give another few tenths to Cooper Prout as he continues to chase them down.
Yeah, and I just don't see being on the outside through turn 8 as the way to go. I don't think it's worked for anyone who's tried it at this point in time without the car on the inside, maybe making a major error. A lot of risk. He's just taking too much risk. If the car on the inside understeers, you're in the fence. If you make a mistake, you're in the fence. You know, the only way to get through is just challenge and it's be a little bit circumspect, make him think you're going to go through it too wide, back out a little bit early and try the crossover. But look at Crossan. He is not backing down from a fight.
No, he's not. He's powering out of that final hairpin, much like Scotty Mack did all the way back in, what was it, 2014, 2015 in the Volvo, battling against SVG. One of the fantastic supercars battles there. But meanwhile, the top 3 have compressed. Looks like Dylan Jordan about a second behind these guys. It's going to be difficult for him to do. Corey Crossan, though, appears to have gotten a slowdown from that. Probably a bit too much curb at turn 1. Prout's now up into second.
And again, he's just been quiet, lurking, letting them all throw down just ahead of him. That's probably taken some life out of Silcock's tyres as well. So in the meantime, Cooper Prout's just sat there being quite nice to his tyres, kind, just been patient and again circumspect. If there's anything that a team that offers you a car wants to see, is that you get into these melees in terms of racecraft and you come back with all 4 panels and all 4 wheels sort of still on the car. If you can do that, that's probably one of the things the judges will be looking for when they get through to the next phase of trying to secure yourself a dream ride in 86.
Indeed. Don't forget the prize, the grand prize for this competition is an entry and advancement into the CareVets scholarship. And if you end up winning the scholarship competition, you will get a season drive in the 2026 Toyota Trophy Series in the CareVets entry. So that's what these guys are racing for at the moment. Cooper Prout is the one in the box seat to win that as he continues chasing down Josh Silcock for the lead of race 2.
But it's just a big thing as well. And don't forget, it's not the only thing to play for as well. Even though these guys might not be fighting for the championship, but there's somebody that's just sort of impressed you. And again, I'm impressed as well with Corey Crossan. Gets the elbows out. He's always willing to trade paint because there's a race win on the line for him. It hasn't necessarily gone his way. Is he perhaps the fan vote? Is there someone else? Remember, Dylan Jordan's hung about inside the top 5 in this one as well. He could be a lurking contender for the fan vote. And also, a prize going the way of one of our fans as well, randomly drawn. So just by entering and participating and watching as well along at home, you could yourself win. And that's the big part about things here and why I like coming back to this 86 after the last few seasons. We started with the Porsche Cup Series. We moved on to 86s last year and we're back with the 86s yet again. And glad to be partnering with Creme Insurance to bring you, everything that's going on as well as the CareVets 86 Series in 2026. But, none of that happens without all the work that goes on board. But at the same time, just by being a fan of the series. How about that? What other series in the world gets you in a part of things by being a fan?
Yeah, exactly. Well, problem for Ewan Baker at turn 11. It looks like contact with Avon Dunn. He's going to fall back even further, unfortunately. He's not going to be eligible for the Hard Charger Award thanks to Apex Lab. Use promo code NZSRC to get 10% off your membership for Apex Lab Sim Engineering and Driver Development. Hardest Charger across the 3 races today is going to get a 1-month subscription to Apex Lab. And it's going there's a 6-month subscription to the same service available for the most positions gained over the whole season. Big thanks to Apex Lab for their support. Ewan Baker's going to try and make it 3 wide here. Oh my goodness, making his way past Henry Fires and Ross Buchan, and I think he's got the red mist on now, hasn't he?
Yeah, a caution being thrown to the wind. We're only just past the halfway marker, actually, of our reverse grid race here tonight as well, which is worthwhile pointing out. So there's still a fair bit more to sort of get through in this one, and he's got to have a car capable of doing that. A lot of ground lost. Our lead group are starting to come back together a little bit as well. I think Cooper Prout just about got to the rear bumper of actually Josh Silcock at the hairpin that time by. They've dropped Corey Croson a little bit now, but he'll be happy to sit there. And look, P3 in this field is a big finish for Corey Croson. So make sure he locks that one away on the opportunity he gets to be up the front.
Yeah, Croson was quite consistent in qualifying. 5th place for race 1. He did fall back down the order, yes, but that did allow him the chance to stay on the front row for this one. And thanks to all of the chaos that happened behind, he's been able to stay nicely in that podium position. But I think Dylan Jordan will have a few things to say about that in the next couple of laps. Jordan is lapping quite consistently with Croson at the moment, but Silcock and Prout still well and truly together for the lead. And I just get the feeling that Cooper Prout is biding his time here. Don't forget, we still have 7 laps, including this one, remaining in the race. So there's plenty of time to make a move.
Yep. And if you've looked after your tyres, this is the phase of the race where the car will start to come to you as well. So for anyone who's perhaps been a little bit more sedentary in the opening half of the race, and again, a little bit more circumspect and just thinking about things, Croson was actually one of the quickest cars inside that top 5 on the most recent lap. So in fact, he actually was, I think, the quickest car in the race on the most recent lap. So he's still got something to play with and come back at these guys. So don't count him out just yet, particularly if Cooper Prout again has another throw of the dice at Josh Silcock. Keep an update as well with Ewan Baker. There's damage on just about every corner of that car at the moment, but still inside the top 10. 9th, a lot of work to do, and I would say for probably Ewan, it's probably done, because not only does he have to outscore Cooper Prout by a massive amount, he's also now got to outscore Josh Silcock as well, because he'll be on the back foot after this one.
Yeah, he will. Ewan Baker seems to be the eternal bridesmaid of these competitions. He was quite quick in the Porsche Cup, and when we moved to the Toyota 86s in partnership with the real NZ Toyota Trophy Series, Antal Sabo was absolutely dominant last season, and Ewan Baker was pressuring him as best he could. Never quite got the chance over the course of the season. This season, it's been a little bit patchy from everyone. I don't think there's been a real clear leader, despite Prout being in the lead of the standings the whole time. It's been a real battle for him to stay ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you know, in 86s, that reverse grid element, it really cast the cat amongst the pigeons. And that's why I say I really like the way he's driven the last 2 rounds, because Silcock got his way through the field really quickly in race 2 last week. But Cooper Prout didn't necessarily get mega aggressive. He just looked after the thing the whole time. Just picked up a spot, allowed his lap times to really sort of dictate his progress through the field, rather than just showing up on scene and lobbing the car the first time of opportunity. And he's got an opportunity right here. They'll run side by side down at turn 11 and into the back of him is Silcock, but Cooper Prout now has that spot. And this might be him just trying to seal the deal. If he wins this race, it is not complete, but it is all but. He's just got to log laps in the final race of the night and the final 9 laps to take us to the finish of the season.
5 laps to go in this one, and Josh Silcock did not make that easy for Cooper Prout, but certainly Prout holding strong through turn 11. The corner where he had so many problems in qualifying. Looks like he sorted that out now, but the battle is not over. He needs to keep it consistent up the front, keep up this pace, because Silcock is really all over the back of him in the staircase section. Seems like the first sector, Prout is losing out just a little bit. Once he gets to the straight, though, we might see that gap decrease a bit further, and Corey Croson has been given a little benefit from all of this fighting as well. He's within a second of them. He's in slipstream range.
Yeah, so he's going to be lining up to try and have a crack at these guys. And at the end of this one, there'll be 4 to go. So still enough time for Croson to be there and thereabouts. And he's tracking them down on the straight. Now with all of that drafting assistance that he's been able to get, ranges up, just Josh Silcock, just about to the rear bumper of Cooper Prout. But again, Prout just measured him, just watched him, just shadowed him for a couple of laps and thought about where he was going to get it done. And got one opportunity and slammed that door closed.
Out into the final sector then, as they make their way through the beautiful sweeper, the second last corner. And the top 3 in a line now. 1 lap ticked off the roster, 4 to go in race number 2. Dylan Jordan not too far behind these guys. Last time by, he was the quickest car on track, but this time it's Corey Croson, only driver in the field to get into the 1 minute 30s. 1 minute 30.9. That was 6/10 faster than Silcock and about 3/10 faster than what Cooper Prout could manage. So Croson's not out of this.
No, not out, and he's there and thereabouts at the moment. He's just been patient, passive.
Oh, no!
That'll do it. Yeah, that's a fair whack to the fence. So that might be enough to sort of starting to get him to drop back. But yeah, for Silcock, again, he's just there and thereabouts. Prout got another good drive off the corner. So doing quite well for the meantime. I was just taking a quick look I'll look through for a little bit more information about our drivers. Cooper's still at school at this point in time, much the same as the rest of us. COVID, a friend got him to get interested in racing, and all of a sudden Corey Croson's having a little bit of a slide as Silcock went for a move for the race lead as well. He's on the outside when they get down here to 10, 11 as well. Still not quite able to track it around the outside, but he is throwing it around the outside. He's willing to take risks at the moment.
Certainly is, and he's been forced defensive versus Croson now. Despite that big hit to the tyre barrier, Croson's managed to get away without too much damage, and he's gotten back up to pace very nicely. You're right, though. Cooper Prout, one of many drivers to come into the sim racing scene through the global pandemic of about 5 years ago or so. And I mean, the explosion that sim racing has seen in the early 2020s is nothing short of incredible. You know, the fact that we're able to hold these kinds of competitions now is insane. Meanwhile, Corey Croson, unfortunately, a poor run through turn 4. I think a slowdown through the first couple of corners, giving up the podium place to Dylan Jordan.
Yeah, so 1 spot further down, that'll promote Dylan Jordan. 1 spot further up. But Josh Silcock's also quite young as well. Won a 1300cc mainland rally. Had the perfect season in 2025. So he's coming into this one in 2026 with a lot of opportunity to try and work his way forward. Corey Croson and Dylan Jordan are known to each other. They've been on the sim and racing each other for many, many years. I can tell you that with confidence. Trading paint over a long period of time earns you a fair bit of respect amongst your peers from time to time. At the moment, they are going toe-to-toe. Down to 11, and that is a really good switchback. Dylan Jordan just about got the barriers. That was using all the track width. But I tell you what, I reckon there might have been 5 mil on the end of that right-hand wing mirror.
Oh, and there's contact for the lead. Josh Silcock went deep into the final hairpin and got into Cooper Prout's right side door. But Prout has the better run down the start-finish straight. I think that might have been a position redress there from Silcock. 2 laps to go, and the lead is on. Yeah,
that it is. And they're still taking a crack at things. And Cooper Prout, I just heard him mic up because he did say he got into me in the final corner. And then immediately Silcock redressed. He said, yep, no worries. We're going to race on. We're going to have a crack at this one. But he just sounded cool. He just sounded calm. There was a breath of ease about it. He was really in his element. And when you have contact, it's very, very easy to just, all of a sudden, guys got it into me, lose my head just a little bit. Silcock's happy to be aggressive, needs to be aggressive. That's the thing at the end of the day. Probably a little bit more aggressive than he wants to be, but he doesn't really have a choice. If he wants to win a championship, sometimes you just got to be a little bit more aggressive than you think.
And this is the final chance that Silcock really has to get a leg up on Cooper Prout here. Even if he does make the move, though, Prout will still have enough points in hand to not have to worry too much about race 3 and still be able to take the title. Again, Silcock needs Prout to finish way down the order, if not retire from the race. He's not going to try and ensure that happens. That would certainly not be the sportsmanlike thing to do, but he will pressure him as best he can to finish in front and then let the cards fall where they may.
Well, the big thing is, if I'm in Cooper Prout's shoes at the moment, I know I've got a massive advantage. I know I extended that advantage after the first round race of tonight. Well, if he goes for an aggressive move, I'm just going to let him have it. It's not worth the hassle. I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be starting with him. I'd rather lose 5 points than 60. You know, if there's 60, all of a sudden I'm starting deeper in the field. There's a championship on the table. So if I'm in his shoes, I just have that little bit of a think and go, okay, how much do I really need to find it? But the other problem is, Reese, sometimes you second guess yourself. And Cooper, it does look like he's second guessing. He's taken so much more curb through that first sector than he's taken all night. And that's where he's given up all the time.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, you think you can run across the curb and get a faster line through the corner, but that's not the case with curbs as brutal as they are at Adelaide. These guys are jetting away from the battle for the top 3, which is now joined by Darren Lobb. Dylan Jordan and Corey Crossan have made a couple of exchanges on this final lap, and that's going to be them for a few frames, but Prout and Silcock will be side by side into the hairpin ahead. Prout defending the position, but Silcock is going to get up the inside on the exit. An incredible move there. He forced Prout into a defense, and now Prout's going to have to do it again. Oh, contact on the exit, just avoiding getting into it as Josh Silcock. One more chance here at the final hairpin. This is the final few corners of the race, and Prout all the way to the inside, going to try and keep that position behind. He sticks it, parks it on the inside, and ultimately will take victory from Josh Silcock.
What a stoush. What a race. Like, you take out the championship and all the implications of that. What a race between those two guys. They weren't afraid to trade a little bit of pain. Again, respect shown. Silcock got in. He's trying to be a little bit aggressive. He threw it all around. Great battle. Darren Lobb will pick up one spot in the final lap and move his way into 4th as well. But they traded pain. And then Silcock said, yeah, look, I'm going to get pinged by race control if I hang on to this position. Gave it back. They just went straight back to business. That's professionalism. That is aggression. That is respect for your fellow competitor. Everything that you want to see in an 86 race was on display in that one. Reverse grid, aggression, bust ups, but everyone that wanted to get through it cleanly did, and then carried on with everything as well. Like, that is everything you want in a motor race right there.
Absolutely. Really happy to see how that turned out. Just a couple of drivers left to come across the line here. Justin Davies, who is going to be classed a lap down, I believe, had a really rough time of things. 17th place will be the best he can hope for. Hardest charger in the field from that race appears to be Henry Fires, who started 20th, finished 10th. That's 10 positions gained. Very nicely done indeed. If there's a driver who's gained more spots, I'm sure the production crew will let us know very swiftly behind the scenes. But that's going to be the last car across the line then there for Justin Davies. And then we'll be able to check out our full results there. A few battles at the end of that race. Prout and Silcock, ultimately with 0.2 of a second between them. Corey Crossan, Darren Lobb, and Dylan Jordan battling hard on the final lap, and Lobb getting 4th out of that. Very nicely done. With Avon Dunn in 6th place, James McIver finishing in P7. It was a consistent drive from him, and we're going to see Ewan Baker finish in P8, and that may bring him outside of championship contention going into the final race of the series. Wall and Fires will round out your top 10.
Yeah, outside of the 10 is going to be Ross Buchanan from Tim Sullivan. Nico Cordier had some issues in race 1, drove back through the field in race 2 nicely. Matt Priest was also there with issues from race 1. Gets back into it. James Corbin fell a long way, as did Bryce Harding. A couple of drivers off the lead lap with damage preventing them from making the distance. Justin Davies, Billy Rowley, Alex Sprague. Sprague 9 laps down, says he was caught up in all of that melee. Didn't go his way. Zeltwanger's not had a great run thus far. 12 laps down for him. Then retirements from the first couple laps from Paul Booth and Nico Skulls.
Yeah, poor Nico didn't even make it past the end of the second lap there, which is a bit of a shame. But that's going to round off the first two races of the day. We will have a short break before we come back with an interview with Corey Crowson and go through the top 10 in the championship points. Stay with us here on NZ Sim Racing TV.
You have something in your mind, you are able to create it, build it, and then someone from the other side of the world came and tell you that they want to spread this product to 50 countries in the world, so it's a huge personal.
You're watching NZ Sim Racing TV, the final round of the finals in the CareVets NZ Toyota 86 E Cup here from the virtual Adelaide Street Circuit. Reese Gardner and Scott Rankin with you in the commentary box. And Scott, I understand, has caught up with our third place finisher from race 2, Corey Crowson.
Corey, elbows out in that one. Reverse grids are always a ton of fun, but starting up at the front end of the field, few battles with a ton of the guys. I mean, again, not afraid to trade paint, not afraid to get the elbows out. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. No, it was good. It was good fun. There's a couple of ding-dongs there, but yeah, I sort of feel like I was in the right position and able to do so. So that's obviously, yeah, why we were trading a little bit of paint.
Mate, okay if you trade paint samples, not okay when panels start getting bent. That's a little bit different though. But hey, challenge around here at Adelaide, getting through that first chicane. Noticed you picked up a slowdown at one point there, had to let Dylan Jordan by and then managed to get back by him. So pace is obviously pretty good for you tonight, particularly qualified right up at the pointy end of things. You're actually quite comfortable in terms of pace. Race 1 didn't go your way. Race 2 went kind of your way. What's the confidence level heading into race 3?
About 0. I've done next to no practice, and I don't know how, but I found it in quali. Just had to get a little bit more aggressive. Usually you've got to be quite nice and smooth with these cars, but for some reason aggression's working for me tonight. So yeah, confidence. We'll just get the elbows out again and see what happens.
I was going to say, nice and smooth. Corey Croson? Nah, elbows out all the time, mate. There's nothing like that, mate. Congratulations on P3 from that one. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to whilst you've got a few moments. And remember, don't forget this going out on national telly. So big hi and a big thank you to Mum, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Mum. And yeah, Bryce. Bryce is a good teammate, and yeah, we're doing plenty of practice together, and it's bloody good racing alongside him. So yeah, him and the Sigma boys, and I think that's about all my shout outs. Yeah.
The cat, the dog, leaving me alone so I can sit at the sim all day. Yeah, no, none of that. Just the sim boys. Okay.
Just the sim boys. Oh, and the wife. The wife for probably letting me do it. So you know,
Mum got a shout out, but the wife got forgotten. You are in trouble when this one goes live to air.
No, we'll be fine.
Ladies and gents, if you know Corey Croson and he goes missing, we all know why now. So all right, it's not going to be New Zealand's greatest mystery. Thank you very much for your time, Corey.
Cheers, guys.
Corey Croson maybe will be racing from the doghouse next season when it comes around, but still a fantastic performance in race number 2 from him. And coming into the final race of the night, only 10 laps left to run in the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup, and this is how the championship standings look coming into it. Cooper Prout with a 99-point lead over Josh Silcock. I think basically he's got it sewn up now. Remember, a maximum of 75 points for a win per race in this series. So at the moment, looks like the battle is really for second on back.
Yeah, so it'll be a little bit of a celebration, but don't forget all the minor placings still have something to fight for. Second place overall is still that MOZA Racing voucher from Speednation, and $1,000 as a part of that one, and $450 from Mannon Racing Products as well at the Sim Racing store voucher to go to third place. Don't forget, that's not everything. Also, fastest lap of the round. So far, race number 1, Ewan Baker picked up a 30.673. That's still out there to be won. Hard charger of the round, driver of the round, and the viewer vote. All of those still to be won. Most positions gained over the season. 6-month subscription. Well, look, I might have to try and qualify for this series next season. Start at the back every race. Gave me some spots. Might get myself a... No, hang on. I need to move to New Zealand. Yeah, I'm sorry, boys. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I've got family over there. I'm half Kiwi on my mother's side, so at the very least you'll have some accommodation sorted.
Oh, you're an honorary citizen by the sounds of things at this point in time. I've still got to get over there, mate. It's you're much more of a shout than I ever be.
Yeah, I've only been to New Zealand twice, but every time we've gone there, it's felt like home. Fantastic place. Still got good memories of driving up the side of Mount Ruapehu, going down to Wellington, visiting the Bay of Islands, staying in the town of Russell for a while, and then up to Whakarewarewa to visit the Kauri Museum. I have brushed up on my Maori pronunciation as of recent, but just a few seconds remaining in this final warm-up session of the season. Drivers getting as much mileage as they possibly can here. And, well, it's going to be the starting order decided by the finishing results of race 2. A few seconds remain. And here we are swapping on over. 10 laps remain in the finals. And Cooper Prout, the effective champion-elect at the moment, is going to be starting on pole position. He will have his championship rival, Josh Silcock, starting alongside him on the front row for the final race. Behind them, Corey Croson After pole position start in race 2, he will start third alongside Darren Lobb, who made up a lot of positions in the second race. Dylan Jordan rounds out the top 5, and Avon Dunn will be rounding out your third row. James McIver and Ewan Baker, 2 drivers who you would have thought would be right up there in the championship, and they were, but for a few problems along the way. Graham Wall and Henry Fires will round out your top 10.
And the final outside of the top 10 of the season for Ross Buchanan and Tim Sullivan. Sullivan made some ground in race number 2. Nico Cordier had finally got the ability to get through that one relatively clean from Matt Priest in 13th and 14th, 15th to 16th with James Corbin and Bryce Harding. This is where the guys with damage start to come on through. Justin Davies and Billy Rowley out of 17th and 18th. Final cars inside the 20. Alex Sprague with some work to do. Lee Zeltwanger will be alongside.
And the final row of the grid, Paul Booth and Nico Scholes, both having big dramas in race 2. And Paul Booth at least is taken to the grid, waiting to see if Nico Scholes will join him here. But for the moment, Cooper Prout just sees the open front stretch towards him, towards turn 1. The center chicane, always a cause of drama at the start of races. Actually been pleasantly surprised by the clean starts that we've had thus far at Adelaide. It's really only gotten crazy lap 2 onwards. So let's keep an eye out for anyone who wants to make up some final positions here. Everyone knows where they stand on points, and they'll be trying their best to make up as many as they can. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some big dives in this final race. Cooper Prout, Josh Silcock, Corey Crossan, Darren Lobb, your top 4, all in contention for a win by the end of this one. But the revs rise, the flag will drop, and so will the clutch as they move away, and the final race of the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup is go. Josh Silcock just ahead on the way into turn 1, but Cooper Prout has the inside line. Silcock is going to get pushed across the curb there. Potential for a slowdown from that, but Cooper Prout is not quite back into the lead yet. Clean start from everyone further back, seeing a few positions change, but by and large, everyone's gotten through the opening corners cleanly.
There was one guy, Justin Davies, harden the barrier in between turn 2 and turn 3, even though that's that little kink. He just got off the chicane, not all that nicely, through the stairway for the first time in the final race of the season. And the final series has been big, it's been epic, there's been paint traded, there's been drama, there's been moments, and there's one more round of drama in the final race of the season.
Looks like Tim Sullivan and Billy Rowley falling down the order as a result of that incident. Justin Davies and Nico Scholes just escaping it as Sullivan and Rowley get rolling again, but I think Sullivan's crabbing hard. There's a car in the wall coming out of turn 8 there. I think it might have been Avon Dunn who's dropping down the order to 13th, side by side between the cars of Dylan Jordan and James McIver. Ewan Baker right behind, looking to take advantage. He carried damage throughout the majority of race 2. He still has a clean car here in race 3, and he'll be trying to make moves. First up, the move for 6th into the final corners.
And this will be on a teammate, so Dylan Jordan doesn't fight that one too much. Recognises that teammate Baker is on a charge back through the field. Next target acquired, and it's James McIver. As they run down the start-finish straight, getting through the chicane without a slowdown is real important now. Silcock would love to sign, seal and deliver the season. No championship to go his way. Maybe a race win to round out the season will at least bring the spirits up on board car number 666, but Silcock is the guy who picked up the slowdown on that lap.
And he's lost 2 positions, make that almost 3 as Darren Lobb draws alongside. Silcock will defend the inside line into the right-handers, so he'll at least keep a podium spot here, and it's far from over. This is the shortest race of the night, but still plenty of time left to make your moves. Nico Cordier, the next driver to fall down the order. Looks like there's plenty of problems up the back of the field today.
Ooh, yeah, round he goes once again. So continuing on with the theme, unfortunately for Nico Cordier, it's a theme he'll probably be looking to change before the year is out, that much is for sure. But for now, champion-elect Cooper Prout will lead the field out of the hairpin, and Corey Crossan will be the next guy to go in pursuit. Corey was probably a little bit in trouble. He'll be hoping he gets one more opportunity to thank the wife before things finish up for the season. At least to get that one captured. For the meantime, he'll look both forward and back. Forward and an opportunity at Cooper Prout, backwards and a defensive moment against Josh Silcock.
So track temperature has come down a little bit for the final race. 38 Celsius. That's still not cool by any stretch. Fastest car on track was Ewan Baker, a 1 minute 30.61. That will bring his current lap record for the night down. So Baker is in a good spot here to get the hard charger award as Crossan makes the move on Silcock for second.
Has a crack at him, but not quite able to come away with that spot. All that that's doing, though, is allowing Cooper Prout to just escape down the road. He's clear of the draft right now, and if these guys don't work together, that is going to be it. Signed, sealed, and delivered and into the sunset for Cooper Prout. Crossan will need a good exit off of turn 7, gets it, and the run down the back straight away, but keep your eyes in the background, because there is still a host of cars queuing up to have a crack at them. And James McIver and Ewan Baker have run all the way back up to Darren Lobb. And now it's going to be a 6-car breakaway. We'll have a challenge for positions down here at the hairpin.
Yeah, Silcock having a look there at Corey Crossan, but not quite enough to get alongside. Maybe a couple of taps on the way out of the hairpin. Even if Prout ends up retiring from this final race, it's not going to change the championship lead. Once again, he has a 99-point lead with 75 points for a win. So no matter what happens, there's no way these drivers are going to overcome Cooper Prout in the standings. So I think they've decided, yep, we're just going to let him go here. We're going to fight as best we can for second and see who gets the points haul out of that. Silcock right on the bumper of Crossan coming into the first couple of corners, and it's always difficult watching cars go through there. It's a super high curb at turn 2, very easy to pick up the slowdown there. It looks like McIver had a poor run out of it, and Darren Lobb going to go for 4th. He gets it.
Yeah, I think that was actually Darren Lobb had the bad run, and it was McIver trying to capitalise on that one. What it has done, though, is allow Ewan Baker to get to McIver's inside, and he's been forced to yield on that one. So I think everyone will come out of that with the positions that they entered the lap with, but this one's not done by any stretch of the imagination. Silcock just creeps a little bit lower, closer, and how about a flash of the headlights to let him know the intention?
Yeah, the intentions being shown here. It's always interesting seeing the various techniques drivers use to psych each other out in a fight, like a look to the inside, which may turn into a move here for Josh Silcock. Gets alongside Crossan in the hairpin and is almost clear of him, but not quite. The battle's going to continue into the last sector.
Happy to get the elbows out, happy to trade a little bit of pain, happy to check up Silcock, and he's done so. Hung on to it. Now McIver's going to go around the outside because Lobb checked up, watching the guys ahead battle. They're going to go 2 by 2 into the final corner. Crossan was trying for the switchback, doesn't quite get it, gets hooked on the bumper. Baker goes around. They're all trying to pay down the front finish straight. And Crossan, well, he's going to go around. It hasn't gone his way, but that was a melee.
Yeah, certainly was. James McIver and Josh Silcock getting out of it the best there. Darren Lobb is still back with Ewan Baker, and now Dylan Jordan involved in the fight for the top 5. Baker versus Lobb, contact into turn 4, and Lobb is broadside across the track. Baker has nowhere to go. Oh, the disaster just keeps going forward for Ewan Baker, and poor Darren Lobb, he's going to have to watch the whole field go by before he can get turned around.
Yeah, well, he was on for a hard charger, wasn't he? Back end of the field to the front end of the field in less than 3 races. He got more than half of it done in the first race, and now he drove all the way into contention for a podium, only to watch it go barreling down the gurgler. But they are free at the front end of the field. P1, P2, P3, all on their own. Some Dylan Jordan back through to P4, and now they're going to get into each other for about 6th, 7th, and 8th at the moment as Ross Buchanan tries to hold off Ewan Baker and Alex Sprague.
Baker on the outside through the hairpin and has to give up the position to Buchanan at the very least. Let's see what more Alex Sprague has to say about all of this. Remember, Sprague, the winner of race 1, and it was quite a fall down the field for him. 19th in the end, 9 laps down in race 2 as Baker gets up the inside of Ross Buchanan at the final hairpin, and every time they go across the curbs there,
Ewan Baker might have to give that one back. There was a call of safety car before he completed that pass, you know.
Oh.
We do actually have a safety car out on the track at the moment. I
okay.
just get the feeling that Ewan Baker... Yeah, safety car is on track. Yeah, confirming safety car's definitely on track. Yeah, and I don't think Ewan Baker actually got that one done.
No, yeah, well, we'll have to keep an eye out for word from race control on that one, but looks like safety car ultimately bringing the field into a lower cadence, you could say, for the next couple of laps. I saw Billy Rowley coming into pit lane. I'm wondering if Rowley might be the reason for the safety car. Unclear as things stand, but we do have a replay up for Nico Cordier, and oh yeah, I think I can see what's happened here. This is going to be on the run through the staircase section, and it looks like contact with the car ahead. Oh yeah, looks like that was Rowley, I believe, getting into the wall, and Cordier, unfortunately, well, no, actually, that was Lee Zeltwanger who was stopped there. And Cordier ran right into him, so did Rowley.
Well, I think if you had a look at Zeltwanger's car, he was about to swing back across the track, then he realised there was cars coming, and Cordier just expected him to keep going. So they would have, if he'd have kept going, he would have cleared the track, but that's obviously not the right thing to do, and a bit of miscommunication. But anyway, taking us a little bit to get those guys cleaned up. Final safety car of the season in the grand finale.
In fact, the only safety car of the season, I think. No? We had the safety car at Zolder as well, my apologies.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Other than that, it's been relatively clear. They've actually been able to get away with a lot of the racing that they've done, which has been awesome to see. So, you know, there's been drama and there's been elbows out, but people have been walking away from the scene of accidents as well.
Indeed. So all of that was started by our a wild card Lee Zeltwanger, unfortunately losing the rear end of the car through turn 6. It was a poor run off the curb for him. That's the whole reason he was spun around in that very tight section of the track in the first place. And yeah, it's always difficult at a street circuit. You need to be very careful. But I think from where's it's just an attribute of that section of the circuit as well. None of the drivers coming around the corners could actually see that Zeltwanger was there, and by the time they could, there was very little time to react. Yeah, and that's just what it is, and you got to try and get out of the way. And you know, the benefit of the real world is there'd be double wave yellow flags, letting you know there's a car start and probably a safety car or something called. At that point in time, Cooper Prout's got control of the field. Safety car's pulling away. And we'll be back under green flag racing. This will give us 3 laps to the end of the race. This is, in effect, a free kick for everyone behind Cooper Prout. They'd lost touch with him completely before the safety car period started. And now they just need to get accelerating at the same time as Prout. It looks like Prout is thinking about getting up to speed in the final sector here, but he's going to just let it come to him. Potentially accelerating out of the final hairpin is how he's going to do it. But we have seen some surprises in the past. Potentially he'll hold until they are out of the hairpin. But as the field comes back up to speed, the green flag flies, and it looks like the apex of the final corner was where Prout decided to pick it up. We are back to green flag racing with 3 laps to go in the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup for 2026.
Yeah, so he'll launch it out of that final corner, down and over the chicane. With 3 more circuits, the Adelaide street circuit, right in the heartland of the city. Graham Wall's going to get aggressed on by Ewan Baker, who's trying to pull alongside down through turn 4. Not quite able to pull that move off. And I think James McIver's actually trying to line up and have a crack at Silcock there, and the teammates going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, this could be a little dramatic here, coming down to the hairpin. They're within slipstream range of Cooper Prout, so they will be able to keep the leader honest coming up to the next couple of corners. But the field is spaced out quite quickly here. Dylan Jordan on his own in P4 as the top 3 breaks away. It's side by side between Ewan Baker and Graham Wall through turn 8. And it looks like Baker might get it done unless Alex Sprague has something to say about it. Up the inside at the Duquetteville hairpin. Ross Buchan and James Corbin right there with them as well over the curbs for for Graham Wall, and he'll hold on to it, but only just. Baker now to the front of the pack for 5th.
Yeah, a little bit of contact and paint traded between Alex Sprague. And into the final corner as well. He's going to have to cover from him, but Sprague is coming back at him quite aggressively now as well. And now Graham Wall's going to defend as well. I think that's Ross Buchanan who tried to slide down the inside. He's trying to nick a spot late on in this one.
Oh, Alex Sprague thought about getting behind Ewan Baker there, but they were still side by side on the way into the first corner, and it's still side by side between Buchanan and Wall. And Ross is going to run over the curbs at turn 2. That's going to be a slowdown for him. He'll have to give it up here, but is there going to be drama on the way up to turn 4? That is the question. The pack is just too close at the moment. He can't serve the slowdown yet, otherwise he'll jeopardize everyone else. 3 wide into turn 5. How do you like it? Corey Croson up the inside.
Corey Croson's gotten back to this one. Remember, he got spun early on in things and was facing in the wrong direction. So again, said to us, he's not afraid to get the elbows out, and getting them out he has on that one. I think he's picked up 3 or 4 spots on this lap. Just again, watching what was going on and reading the traffic really nicely right ahead of him. Now Graham Wall will be the next victim that he lines up for, but Sprague and Baker just about into each other. These two went at it in race 1, and now they're going to go at it in this one as well.
Sprague on the outside. Baker's going to try his best to get the run out, but sometimes the outside line is where you want to be. Sprague has played this very nicely, but the inside for turn 11 isn't as easy as it looks. He had to give room to Baker, and, well, ultimately, Baker found just enough room between Sprague and the tyre bundles. He will stay ahead through the second last corner and defend into the final hairpin. Sprague is flummoxed. He's trying to find a way past, but it's just not presenting itself.
No, and he had to bail out of the throttle. He got a little bit of a run, but didn't quite get the overlap. Now he's going to have a go on the inside of the run of turn 1. Eventually, Ewan Baker's going to lead him some space. Do they get through him without contact? They do not, but they both walk away from the scene of the crime. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
How did neither of them get a slowdown from that? That's incredible driving from Alex Sprague and Ewan Baker. Graham Wall is going to try to take advantage. He's going to drag James Corbin and Corey Croson with him. Corbin and Croson still fighting for themselves over P8. They will space out a tiny bit in the staircase, but my goodness, this is far from over, not just for 5th place, but for the front as well. Cooper Proud and Josh Silcock are neck and neck.
I'm not all that interested in that battle. Can we go back to that one deeper in the pack? I want to watch the melee that's still trying to kick off back there. It's racing for everything. There's money on the table for these boys. No, there isn't. There's absolutely nothing. They're just having fun as they go again, dicing down to the hairpin. Graham Wall starting to play his way back into this one. And don't count out Corey Croson. This is the final lap of the race. This is the final lap of the season. They have come all this way to go side by side through 9, 10, and 11.
Fantastic racing. It's into the final corner for our leaders meanwhile. Very deep from Josh Silcock. He's going to leave the door open for McIver to take second in the last corner of the season. But up ahead, Cooper Prout and the Automoose Racing number 10 will officially be crowned the champion of the CareVets NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup. An absolutely stunning drive through the season for Cooper. Consistent results all the way through. Ultimately, in the battle for P5, looks like, who was that was spun on the start-finish straight there? That was
Robin. He was having some fun of his own. He's done it on his own. Don't worry about that one.
Well, worth pointing out, though, Alex Sprague did end up getting past Ewan Baker for P5 in the final few corners. We had to give our champion, our winner, our podium their dues, but turns out that battle for 5th place was far from over when we cut away from it.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, they all had a scrap and went after it all the way to the line. What a season. What a final race. And again, Cooper Proud, just, again, you got to be quick, but just smart. Just circumspect, put it in all the right spots consistently. Again, didn't over-challenge the curbing at any point in time. What a race. That was phenomenal.
Phenomenal indeed. And, well, Ewan Baker did hold the fastest lap of the night for a while, but Cooper Prout, on his way to victory here in the final race of the season, ended up getting it. 1 minute 30.545 is the ultimate fastest time from all three races. That's just incredible stuff. And well, the celebrations will begin. Lay down as much rubber and as much smoke as you dare down the Brabham Straight, as the season then comes to a close. Final results then from the last race. Cooper Prout takes the championship in style with 2 wins on the board. James McIver, Josh Silcock. James McIver is going to finish in P2 with Josh Silcock in P3. Dylan Jordan rounds out your top 4. And then Alex Sprague winning the battle for 5th ahead of Ewan Baker and Graham Wall. James Corbin spinning out of the final corner with Corey Crossan and Henry Fires rounding out your top 10. Some consistent results for Fires in the final round.
Yeah, outside of that top 10, though, it was a melee and just a whole bunch of fun, I think, for a whole bunch of those guys as well. Ross Buchanan, Paul Booth, Avon Dunn, Justin Davies, Darren Lobb got rotated sent at the rear. Bryce Harding home on the lead lap. Priest, Sullivan, Zeltwing, and Cordier not making the end of that race. And then it was the final 2 drivers in Billy Rowley and Nico Skulls. But I can tell you what, the whole field is out there and destroying sets of tyres. You know why? Because it's a whole bunch of fun. Look at the smoke storm they're sending up. This is what it's all about. At the end of the day, sim racing is a whole bunch of fun, and it's safe. You know, there's not as many risks as there are in the real world. And at the end of it, sometimes you just get to celebrate as well. You get to burn up some tires, even if you weren't out there and racing for a championship. There's guys that are out there love drifting, love doing a little bit of burnouts, and just generally having fun. And that's what it's about at the end of the day.
Here are the final standings then, keeping in mind they are provisional, pending the final judgments from race control on whatever incidents may have been reported over the course of the evening. But Cooper Prout, very clearly winning the championship, and that's a gap of 114 points that he has over Josh Silcock. Ewan Baker losing out quite a bit in that final round. Races 2 and 3 certainly didn't go his way, but things were a little different. We might have seen him in second instead of Silcock. Alex Sprague with a great final round is going to elevate himself to 4th in the championship in the end. Dylan Jordan was Mr. Consistency today. He was always involved in the battle for the top 5 or even a little higher. He's going to round out our championship top 5 in the end. Corbin, Harding, McIver, Dunn and Crossan will be your championship top 10.
Yeah, what a race. What a season. What a challenge. That really had it all tonight. Like we said, drama, elbows out, just about had it all. We got 6 interviews, though, to get through, Reese, so may as well start cracking on with them. And tell you what, you'll take our championship winner, I reckon.
I will indeed. Cooper Prout is with us now. First place in races 2 and 3. First place in the championship, Cooper. Things certainly got interesting in race 2 in particular, having to pick your way through that pile up out of turn 4. But I think that was the big difference maker in the end.
Yeah, that was a really big one down at turn 4, I think it is. But I couldn't have done this season without the whole team. Auto Moves, CareVets for sponsoring the series, Apex Labs, SimBlacks, Edge Overlays, SimRap Market, Sim Magic, Patsky Desires, Motor Tribe, and obviously Jordan, my team owner, for being the best team owner there could be.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be a great moment for you to get this championship win for the Auto Moves Racing team. You know, your journey in sim racing started during COVID, like many drivers competing in the field today. Did you think when you started you'd be here today?
I think if you asked me in 2020, I'd definitely not tell you that I even had a PC. I came from being on an Xbox, so I'm very happy that I won this series, and I couldn't thank anyone else that helped me throughout it as much as I could. But I'm very happy to have won it. Kind of lost for words. It's quite surprising because even a year ago, I never wouldn't have thought I'd be at this point. So thank you.
It's been a great journey that you've been on, Cooper, and there's still a few steps to go. You'll be advancing to the CareVets Toyota 86 Scholarship Competition next month, and there is a lot of potential there for you to win a season drive in the CareVets Toyota 86 in the real world. So a very big opportunity that I'm sure you've been starting preparations for already.
Yeah, me and my family are going to keep our heads down and we're going to prepare for the April 1st. But yeah, just all work that we go into there will just stem from what you guys have done. So thank you all.
Big thanks for joining us, Cooper, and congratulations from everyone here in the commentary box. Head and shoulders above the rest this season. Fantastic drive, and just enjoy it, mate. Just bake in the glow of winning this championship. It took a lot of effort to get here.
Yeah, thank you, boys.
Cooper Prout, your champion, a fantastic drive indeed. Meanwhile, Alex Sprague was the hard charger for this event. And Scott, I understand you've had a chance to catch up with him.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, mate, in that final race of the night, had to come from the right down at the rear of the field, but also gave you an opportunity to get the elbows out. Strong pace at the start of the night, mate. That just looked like a whole bunch of fun right the night through.
Yeah, it was an awesome night of racing. Obviously started off pretty well with a good quali and then a good race one coming away with the win. Just a bit unfortunate to come away with getting caught up in an incident that I couldn't avoid in race 2, which put me on the back foot for race 3, but just put my head down and tried to pass as many cars as I could.
Mate, I think this has been one of the biggest sort of challenges that you sort of face as you're trying to develop and build that skill set. Really, really strong pace from you last time out from the Nürburgring. And then tonight, obviously championship's gone now, but a lot of notes I think that you would have taken across from competing at this level with this group of guys here in 2026. And, well, we've had 3 series the last 3 years. We're going to see you back if it shows up again in 2027.
Yeah, it's a really enjoyable sort of championship. It's very competitive. Lots of good racing to, prepare for, well, for me, real life racing. It helps a lot with the transitioning, a bit of racecraft. And, yeah, we'll have to see with what happens next season. But, yeah, it's a fun championship to be a part of.
Mate, it's been a big old challenge just to be on the red grid, let alone win one of the race, mate. Is there anyone that you'd like to give a thank you and a shout out for assisting you with being here and getting the job done in race 1 tonight?
Yeah, pretty much just all my real life sponsors. Obviously, I'm running my real life car livery to try and help and support those for all they do for me and real life racing. So big thanks to all my sponsors. Yeah.
Mate, congratulations on winning that first race of the night, and congratulations also on the charge through the field in race number 3. Looks like you had a boatload of fun, and we'll see you again next time, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fantastic stuff from Alex Sprague today, and same for Josh Silcock, who joins us now, second in the championship for you, Josh. It was going to be a tough call going on the way in to try and beat Cooper to the championship, but you were up there the whole way through, and well, with a 4th, a 2nd, and a 3rd from tonight's racing, you must be happy with the results that you got.
Yeah, pretty happy. A bit unfortunate with race 1, kind of just getting shuffled to the back, but then also had some damage from myself hitting the wall, and then yeah, that last one got a slow down, and yeah, had to let I think Cooper and Corey go, which yeah, then got stuck behind Corey trying to pass him. So Cooper was gone. Then we got the safety car, and we had a crack. But yeah, Cooper's just too good this whole season, and congrats to him.
Well, it's not all losing out on the title. By finishing 2nd, you've gotten yourself a $1,000 MOZA Racing voucher redeemable at Speednation. So I think some gear upgrades are on your horizon.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we'll have a look, see what we can grab off there. They've got some pretty cool stuff, and thanks to them for the prize, and yeah, thanks to you guys for hosting this, and yeah.
Fantastic drive today, Josh. Is there anyone else you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, just my whole family, everybody watching, everybody who supports me in my rallying. We now look into the rally season coming up soon, so yeah, we'll jump off the iRacing, get on some rally games, and yeah, prepare for that.
All right, best of luck for the season going forward, Josh, and congratulations on finishing 2nd in the championship. Certainly not an easy road to get there. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
And unfortunately, it looks like Ewan Baker will not be joining us, but he will get 3rd overall in the championship. Has picked himself up a $450 Man & Racing Products Sim Racing Store voucher. And also, Cooper Prout, in addition to taking the title and the grand prize, got the fastest lap of the round, a $40 Man & Racing Products Sim Racing Store voucher coming his way. Scott, it looks like that is going to be the end of things for another season season, but I'm just raring to go for the next one. I love this championship, same as you. We see some of the best talent in New Zealand on display here.
Yeah, but not just the best talent. I think the big thing is also the support and you know the fact that we actually have such strong fan engagement. I think is huge. I want to say big shout out to series admin and Matt Pluck and all the guys actually that are sitting behind us that are voices in our ear and that they bring us all the shots as well. But I want to say big shout out to the New Zealand racing fraternity and sim racing fraternity as well, and how the two communities come together. But also everyone that's watched a video over on Facebook and supported everything, all the sponsors that have jumped on board as well. I think that's a really, really big thing to hear about some of the impressions and some of the clicks and things is really, really cool. Just genuinely really cool for us to be a part of and unique from that aspect as well. So, you know, I do want to say a big shout out to all the sponsors. We'll run through the list of them one more time because it's absolutely worthwhile thanking. To Creme Insurance, major supporter of motorsports and sim racing in New Zealand, what they've done for drivers over the years. Big shout out. CareVets and everything they've been able to do for the Toyota GR86 series and clinics across all of New Zealand as well. Man and Racing Products, they've been a big supporter of sim racing in New Zealand for a long period of time. It's always good to see them back here and on cars and on series, and you know they've just been such a big supporter of the racing fraternity. Speednation as well, always on board, a part of everything and as big as supportive as they possibly can, in partnership with MOZA Racing this year. That was really, really cool to have a two-pronged sort of sponsorship deal come on behalf of Speednation as well. Apex Labs, Sim Engineering and Driver Development. Awesome to be able to offer some of our drivers the ability to level up their skills through Apex Lab. And don't forget to use the discount code NZSRC for $10 off your first month membership with those guys. To, like we said, the guys behind the broadcast, NZ Sim Racing TV, the NRED Sim Racing Collective. This series doesn't go ahead, and I think all the drivers, one of the biggest things I hear from guys all the time about the New Zealand sim racing community is how good a job these guys do. So for everyone that's put this series together, thank you from not just the drivers, but from us as commentators. This series is a joy to work on, and the proof is in the pudding. It's one of the most fun series to call as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I echo every sentiment there. It's been an honor for myself and Scott to be involved once again in this series, and also a big shout out to David Haynes who filled in for Scott back at round one at the Bend. David Haynes is one of the best commentators I know. It's always great to be in a box with him and hear his chill, dulcet tones calling the action. Reminder to all the viewers out there, we still have the Speednation Driver of the Round viewer vote on. Get onto the NZ Sim Racing TV socials on Facebook and vote for the driver that jumped out to you the most in this round. You will be in the running to win a random draw, a pair of sim racing gloves thanks to Speednation. The driver of the round will also get that same prize with the most votes. But a huge thanks to everybody once again. Shout out to our sponsors, as Scott said. Get on to Apex Lab. Use promo code NZSRC for 10% off your first membership. And a huge thanks to everybody for tuning in over the course of the season. And if you're watching us on actual television in New Zealand, we want to thank you for watching as well. Not often we get to see sim racing on the small screen. So big shout out to everyone behind the scenes for helping to make that happen. My name's Reese Gardner. Scott Rankin alongside me in the commentary box here. A big thanks to Brad and Matt behind the scenes on NZ Sim Racing TV for helping to get this event off and onto your screens, bringing you these beautiful live pictures. Here on NZ Sim Racing TV, it's goodbye for now. Who will be next to take the grand prize in the CareVets NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup? I think we'll just have to wait for next year.